Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 1650. Boom! Qin Feiyang took a step forward, and an invisible force instantly roared into the sky, emitting an apocalyptic aura. For moves of the ruins of End. He had already evolved the divine art from the start, which showed how wary he was of the fire dragon. Boom! The invisible force rolled out and hit the fire dragon's giant tail. Immediately, a deafening explosion resounded in the area. Then, the fire dragon's giant tail crushed the invisible force without any resistance. Moreover, after being hit by the four moves of the ruins of End, not a single scale on the fire dragon's giant tail fell off. Is this a divine body? Qin Feiyang spat out a mouthful of blood, his body and mind trembling as he retreated. But this did not dampen his fighting spirit. On the contrary, he yearned for the war god realm more and more. He waved his hands at lightning speed. The four moves of the ruins of End were evolved again. However, after evolving the four moves of the ruins of End, a waning moon and a scorching sun appeared behind him. The three moves of Eclipse Moon. Kill! Qin Feiyang roared. His hair flew in anger. The two divine arts shook the sky and once again struck the fire dragon's giant tail. It's useless. In front of my divine body, all divine arts are rotten wood, unable to withstand a single blow. The fire dragon laughed maniacally as its giant tail pressed down fiercely. Boom! The two divine arts shattered one after another, not having any effect at all. They were really like rotten wood. Poof! Qin Feiyang spat out another mouthful of blood. After suffering a series of backlashes, his face was pale. Did you see that? Without Chang Shui, without the castle, what are you? You're nothing, even worse than an ant. If I want to kill you, I only need to move my tail. The fire dragon laughed maniacally with an extremely contemptuous expression. The more it's like this, the more I won't give up. My fighting spirit and fighting spirit are endless. Qin Feiyang roared angrily. Boom! Purple gold dragon Qi soared into the sky, and a divine statue appeared in the sky. Qin Badian. Looking at the statue, the fire dragon's eyes immediately burned with raging flames of fury. It directly abandoned Qin Feiyang and soared into the sky. Its giant tail surged with divine power as it slapped towards the statue. The prestige of our ancestors is not something you can offend. Die! Qin Feiyang roared. The statue raised the broken sword in its hand and slashed at the giant tail. Clang! Clang! Immediately, sparks flew everywhere. It was like a firework explosion, so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. He is the Qin Emperor. Willow Tree and the others looked at the statue and mumbled to themselves. Although they had never seen him in person, just by looking at this statue, they could imagine how handsome this person was back then. Qin Badian, back then I forced you to enter the third level. Today, I killed your descendant. This is the result of offending me. The fire dragon roared angrily, exuding a monstrous aura. The giant tail surged with divine light, accompanied by a loud crack, the broken sword cracked inch by inch. And the statue was also disintegrating. Even the supreme divine art created by our ancestors is no match for it. Qin Feiyang murmured. No. It was not that the divine dragon art was inferior to the fire dragon. It was that his cultivation was not enough and could not unleash the true power of the divine dragon art. Crack! After a few breaths, the statue and broken sword completely disintegrated. But Qin Feiyang suddenly saw another palm-sized fragment falling from the sky. That fragment was completely red. Could it be? Qin Feiyang suddenly raised his head and glanced at the fire dragon's giant tail. The next moment, he was invigorated. On the fire dragon's giant tail, he found a piece of broken dragon scale and a drop of dragon blood dripped from the broken part. It turned out that, the fragment that fell down was the fire dragon's dragon scale. This also meant that the divine dragon art could hurt the fire dragon. To Qin Feiyang, this was simply an enormous piece of good news. It actually hurt my dragon scale, at the same time. The fire dragon floated in the sky and looked at the broken dragon scale on the giant tail. Its eyes were filled with disbelief, but it was soon filled with anger. Unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable. Qin Batian, today, I will send your descendant to hell and reunite with you. The fire dragon let out a furious roar as its divine power surged out. Although it suppressed its cultivation, the power of its divine power far surpassed Qin Feiyang's. The void within a radius of tens of thousands of miles was instantly shattered and collapsed. On the ground, yellow sand billowed, covering the sky and the sun. Qin Feiyang, go to hell for me. Its voice was like a loud bell, shaking the sky. The divine power was like a large waterfall, pouring down from the sky, heading straight for Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's pupils constricted, and he hurriedly dodged. However, he was shocked to find that the divine power's aura was firmly locked onto him. In this situation, he had no way to dodge. Because no matter where he hid, the divine power would follow him. Unless he entered the castle. But before, he had sworn not to use the castle. Boom! He gritted his teeth and activated his armor. Divine weapon. The fire dragon raised its eyebrows. I only said that I don't need Chang Shui and the castle. I didn't say that I don't know how to use other divine weapons. This isn't a violation of the oath, right? Qin Feiyang said coldly. No. The fire dragon shook its head, its eyes filled with disdain, and said, as long as you don't use Chang Shui and the castle, you can use as many divine weapons as you want, because I don't care about them at all. Don't be too arrogant. Qin Feiyang roared angrily. Golden light burst out from his palm, turning into a golden torrent, going against the current and blasting towards the divine power. Return formula. Boom! In an instant, the golden light and divine power collided in the sky. Sigh. It's futile. Li Yun shook her head and sighed. The essence of divine power and battle chi were worlds apart. If divine power was the sky, then battle chi was an ant under the sky. They were not on the same level. Therefore, once the fire dragon used divine power, no matter what Qin Feiyang did, it was impossible to block it. But in the next moment, he was stunned. He saw that the golden light and divine power were in a stalemate in the sky. How is this possible? Not only Li Yun, but Ning Mingi was also shocked. As far as I know, this is a heaven-defying divine art that young master has mastered, called the return formula. It can give you a taste of your own medicine. If young master is also a war god, then I believe that with this return formula alone, young master can suppress the fire dragon. Willow Tree said. However, before he finished speaking, the divine power shattered the golden light like a hot knife through butter and blasted towards Qin Feiyang. Although it's only been a few breaths, it's enough to show that the return formula is extraordinary. Li Yun murmured. Ning Mingi nodded in agreement. But at the same time, everyone was worried. Facing the fire dragon's divine power and anger, could Qin Feiyang really withstand it? Puff. Looking at Qin Feiyang again. The return formula was crushed, and he suffered an extremely serious injury. His arm under the armor was lacerated and blood flowed out. There were even bloody marks on his body. But the fighting spirit in his eyes had never been extinguished. He was telling himself that he could not lose. Because if he were to lose here, everyone around him would die. Although the divine power was terrifying, he had a heart that refused to admit defeat. Swoosh! He took a step forward and flew towards the main hall. The fire dragon was stunned and sneered, "You haven't even warmed up yet, and you're already running away." Qin Feiyang looked at the main hall and turned a deaf ear. "Huh, Qin Batian, do you see, this is your descendant, even I feel embarrassed for you." The fire dragon laughed again and again, his expression full of pride. He looked down at Qin Feiyang and said, "No matter where you run, it's a dead end." The divine power was rapidly approaching. An aura of death enveloped Qin Feiyang's heart. But he did not panic at all. He landed in front of the main hall's door and then turned to look at the divine power surging towards him. Boom! The divine power blasted towards him. In an instant, Qin Feiyang took a step forward and disappeared without a trace. Step formula. It was comparable to teleportation. Boom! The divine power blasted on the main hall's door. But the main hall's door did not even budge. "Bastard! You actually broke your oath." The fire dragon was instantly furious. He thought that Qin Feiyang was hiding in the castle. "Who said I broke my oath?" Qin Feiyang's voice sounded. The fire dragon was stunned and looked towards the voice, only to see Qin Feiyang standing in front of him at this moment. "When did you come up?" He looked at Qin Feiyang in astonishment. "I just came up." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and looked down at the main hall's door with a trace of regret in his eyes. Actually, he did this because he wanted to borrow the fire dragon's divine power to smash the main hall's door. But this door's sturdiness was beyond his imagination. The mysterious man did not lie to him. Wanting to enter this hall was as difficult as ascending to heaven. So fast. Could it be teleportation? The fire dragon's heart was full of doubts. Disappearing in one step. This could only be done by teleportation. But this Qin Feiyang was clearly only a combat emperor. How could he master teleportation? Divine art. That's right, it must be some kind of auxiliary divine art. A divine art comparable to teleportation. How many heaven-defying divine arts did this kid have in his hands? If this kid was also a combat god, then the outcome of this battle, thinking of this. The fire dragon couldn't help but shudder. If Qin Feiyang was also a combat god, then it might be the one to die in this battle. No. This kid's threat is too great, even surpassing Qin Batian. He must be eliminated today, otherwise there will be endless trouble in the future. The fire dragon's eyes turned cold. Swoosh! Its body moved like a bolt of lightning, sweeping in front of Qin Feiyang and sweeping its giant tail. The void here collapsed on the spot. Qin Feiyang took a step forward and disappeared again. In the next moment, he appeared behind the fire dragon. He looked at the collapsed void, his eyes full of yearning. This was the strength of a combat god. Even if his cultivation was suppressed, with his terrifying divine body, he could still shatter the void. Boom! Then, before the fire dragon could react, he took out the divine phoenix blade and slashed at the fire dragon's body with all his might. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. Cracks immediately appeared on one of the dragon scales. As expected of a divine artifact that has given birth to a spirit. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. Although the divine phoenix blade had not recovered, its sharpness had not decreased. Of course. If it recovered, it would be even more terrifying. Little bastard, you're courting death. Feeling the pain from his back, the fire dragon was furious. In an instant, it raised its giant tail, and without turning around, it directly smashed towards Qin Feiyang. For an expert of the fire dragon's level, the cracking of dragon scales was indeed only a little pain. But it was also a disgrace. Especially when the opponent was a small character like Qin Feiyang, it couldn't tolerate it. This is, Willow Tree and the others' eyes widened, and then ecstasy climbed up their faces. This was the power of Cedar. What's going on? The fire dragon was extremely surprised. Buzz. Immediately after, waves of emerald green essence surged out, crazily attacking the divine iron. Crack. In less than 3 breaths, a divine iron suddenly broke. What? The fire dragon's eyes widened in anger. Before it could come back to its senses, the second, the third, the fourth, the divine iron that bound Qin Feiyang broke one by one. Break! Qin Feiyang roared, and his 4 limbs suddenly exerted force, and the divine iron on his body was all shattered in an instant. How is this possible? The fire dragon was dumbfounded. Thank you. Qin Feiyang said to Cedar in his heart, then looked at the fire dragon and shouted, nothing is impossible. In just a short while, the injuries on his body had already healed. He was hale and hearty, and his face was flushed. Kill! With a furious roar, he held the divine phoenix blade, used the walk formula, and charged towards the fire dragon. With a clang, another dragon scale on the fire dragon's body cracked. The fire dragon lowered its head to look at the cracked dragon scale, and a trace of a smile crept into its eyes. It slowly raised its head, looked at Qin Feiyang opposite it, and said with a smile, congratulations, you have completely angered me. Now even if you want to die, it won't be that easy. Although it was smiling, it looked extremely ferocious. Extremely human. Qin Feiyang could not help but feel a surge of fear in his heart. Wait. What am I afraid of? I have faced so many difficulties, so many hardships, and I have walked through them step by step. What is this little bit of hardships? Boom! A shocking battle intent burst out from his body, shaking the heavens and earth. Yes. That's it, or else it won't be fun. The fire dragon smiled ferociously, and teleported, appearing above Qin Feiyang in an instant, and its giant tail smashed down. Even this piece of sky can't stop my battle intent, let alone you. Qin Feiyang roared, and his long hair danced in the void. Like a god of war, he held the divine phoenix blade in his hand and faced the attack. Crazy. He is really crazy. Ning Mingi shouted. Although the divine phoenix blade was strong, it could not be revived, and it could not shake the fire dragon's divine body. Clang! In a flash, the divine phoenix blade and the giant tail met. Accompanied by a deafening sound, another dragon scale on the fire dragon's giant tail shattered. But in this regard, the fire dragon ignored it. The giant tail pressed down fiercely. Crack! Qin Feiyang's arm under the armor shattered on the spot. And his whole body, like a meteorite, smashed into the desert below and was drowned by the yellow sand. The divine phoenix blade also flew out. Hee, just watch. I'll make you beg for mercy on your knees. The fire dragon laughed, and his divine power fell from the sky like a waterfall, blasting towards Qin Feiyang. Even the heavens are not qualified to make me kneel, what are you? Qin Feiyang rushed out from the yellow sand. The vitality of the cedar tree was endless, and with the power of the purple gold dragon blood and the fire of life, the shattered arm had been repaired. He waved his hand, and the divine phoenix blade flew through the air and floated in front of him. I, Qin Feiyang, will never let you beg for mercy. He grabbed the divine phoenix blade and once again faced the divine power. His battle intent was boundless. His fighting spirit broke through the Han heavens. With a bang, the divine power fell, and Qin Feiyang was blasted down again. Yellow sand filled the sky. The wounds on his body were shocking. However, no one could see them because they were hidden by the armor. But everyone could see Qin Feiyang's unyielding spirit. He would rather die standing than live kneeling. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang rushed out from the yellow sand once again. His inextinguishable fighting spirit roared in all directions, and the sky changed color. He attacked the fire dragon again and again, but was blasted into the desert again and again, and then climbed up again and again. Let's see how long you can watch. The fire dragon laughed fiercely, his divine power surging, destroying the heavens and earth. As long as the fighting spirit is not extinguished, the flames of war will not be extinguished. The stronger the fire dragon appeared, the more Qin Feiyang refused to admit defeat. His fighting spirit became higher and higher. His aura also became more and more astonishing, as if he could pierce through the sky. Don't be stupid. If this continues, even with Xue Song's help, he will still die. Ning Mingi shouted anxiously. However, Qin Feiyang acted as if he didn't hear it, and continued to fight with the fire dragon again and again. The purple gold dragon blood dyed the sky. Not bad, this kid. Above the clouds, a weak murmur could be heard. No one heard it. No one noticed that there was a golden small beast standing above. The guardian python was also at the side. At this moment, it was staring at Qin Feiyang, its eyes flickering with a sharp light. As time passed, the fire dragon began to feel anxious. Why couldn't this little bastard be beaten to death? One had to know. Although it suppressed its cultivation, with its strength, not to mention a war emperor, even a false god was enough to destroy it. Boom! Qin Feiyang once again smashed into the desert. At this moment, the desert was in a mess. Qin Feiyang didn't know how many times he had smashed into the desert. But every time, he was able to get up. Of course, he also knew that the reason why he could get up again and again was because of Xue Song. If not for Xue Song, he didn't know how many times he would have died. Xue Song's vitality allowed him to have a true immortal body. Although he had suffered countless serious injuries, his aura was not weak at all. On the contrary, the fighting spirit exuding from his body became more and more terrifying. Rumble. Unknowingly, the sky was covered by dark clouds. Thunder and lightning intertwined, and the wind howled. Walala. Heavy rain poured down. Qin Feiyang's clothes and long hair were instantly drenched. But no matter how strong the storm was, it extinguished his fighting spirit and will. Clang! Boom! The divine phoenix blade clanged and swept across the sky, slashing onto the fire dragon's body again and again. Flames burst out. The dragon scales shattered one after another. But this was not enough to cause actual damage to the fire dragon. The fire dragon was even more shocked. It turned out that it had planned to slowly torture Qin Feiyang. But now, it realized that it couldn't do it at all. Roar! It raised its head and roared, and a fiery red sun rose from behind it. This world suddenly seemed to have turned into a big furnace. The scorching sun rose slowly, getting bigger and bigger. Finally, the scorching sun rose into the clouds, hanging in the sky like a sun. The rain evaporated. The desert dried up. A tremendous amount of godly power surged in all directions and instantly enveloped the entire area. And in that scorching sun, there was a huge dragon shadow roaring. The dragon's might descended, covering the sky and the earth. When the people present saw this scene, they couldn't help but feel a sense of despair. Divine art, Willow Tree murmured. The appearance of the divine art proved that the fire dragon didn't want to continue playing. Ning Mingi roared, "Young master, give the order, revive Chang Shui." Yu Huang also urged, "Now isn't the time to be swayed by loyalty. Hurry up." But Qin Feiyang still turned a deaf ear. He raised his head and stared at the scorching sun hanging in the sky, as well as the dragon shadow roaring in the scorching sun. Not only was there no fear in his eyes, but his fighting spirit was still soaring. Fight! There seemed to be a voice roaring in his heart. Boom! All of a sudden, his fighting spirit rose to an unprecedented height. The space around him began to twist and distort. At the same time, a dull sound came from his body, as if he had broken some shackles. Then he seemed to have lost consciousness and closed his eyes. His mind entered a space of nothingness. Chapter 1652. Why is he still closing his eyes? Willow Tree and the others were bewildered. The fire dragon was also slightly taken aback, and then sneered, "Have you given up resisting? In fact, you should have done so earlier, because no matter how you struggle, you can't defeat me." Roar! His voice fell. In the scorching sun hanging in the sky, the dragon shadow suddenly let out a loud dragon roar. Immediately after, the dragon shadow rushed out of the scorching sun, carrying the power to destroy heaven and earth, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws towards Qin Feiyang. "Young master, be careful." Willow Tree quivered and hurriedly shouted. But Qin Feiyang seemed not to have heard it, and also seemed not to have noticed the roaring dragon shadow. His eyes were still closed. In the empty space, Qin Feiyang glanced around, with a trace of confusion in his eyes. Where was this? How did he suddenly come to such a strange place? He tentatively took a step forward. There was nothing, and there was dead silence all around, as if he had fallen into a bottomless black abyss. What is war? Suddenly, a faintly discernible voice came from the darkness in front of him. Who's talking? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Answer me, what is war? The faintly discernible voice sounded again. Qin Feiyang used the move formula and rushed towards the place where the voice came from. The darkness was endless. Answer me, what is war? The ethereal voice sounded again. War. Qin Feiyang stopped, his brows tightly knitted together. Wait. This voice, why was it so familiar? The next moment, his body and mind trembled, and his face was full of bewilderment. This voice, wasn't it his own voice? But why would his voice appear here? Answer me, or you will never see me. The ethereal voice sounded again. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered. What was war? After a long time, he raised his head, looked at the dark area in front of him, and said, "War is perseverance and unyielding. War is unyielding and unyielding. To fight is to rather die in glory than to live in dishonor. A fighter will never admit defeat. Warriors are invincible. Warriors are feared by gods and demons. Warrior, break the universe. Warriors, fight against the heavens and the earth. This is the battle in my heart." Qin Feiyang shouted. A terrifying battle intent burst out from him like an erupting volcano, spreading in all directions. Strands of divine light suddenly emerged from the darkness ahead. The divine light became more and more intense. It was as if the clouds were parted to reveal the sky. The darkness quickly dissipated. In the end, a huge character appeared in the void in front of Qin Feiyang. Fight. It was a battle. The word battle floated in the air. It was as big as a mountain and shone brightly. Every single stroke was like a god of war, emitting a boundless battle intent. Were you the one talking just now? Qin Feiyang looked at the word battle in astonishment. Wrong. This is your heartfelt thought. This word battle was also formed by your will. Unyielding and unyielding, this is the profound meaning of the battle secret art. The ethereal voice sounded again. Following closely, the word battle turned into a stream of light and merged with Qin Feiyang's mind. Although a long time had passed here, it was only a moment outside. Roar. The dragon's shadow roared in the sky, and the terrifying divine power destroyed all directions. Willow Tree, Ning Mingi shouted. Willow Tree gritted its teeth and immediately summoned Chang Shui. Swish. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang suddenly opened his eyes. Two rays of purple gold light burst out of his eyes. Unyielding and unyielding, never admitting defeat. I see. He murmured and suddenly looked up at the dragon roar. An even more terrifying battle intent roared out from his body. The desert trembled. The void shook. The battle intent went straight to the sky. The dark clouds dissipated, the rainstorm stopped, and the sky instantly became clear again. What's going on? It can actually trigger the power of heaven and earth. Willow Tree and the others looked at the sky in shock. Fire Dragon looked at this scene and was also extremely shocked. The dragon's shadow had already roared in front of Qin Feiyang. Warriors, the gods and demons fear. Warriors, destroy the universe. Breakers, battle the heavens and the earth. Today, I, Qin Feiyang, will use endless battle intent to go against the heavens, break the rules, shatter the shackles, and open the path to becoming a god. Qin Feiyang roared, his body surging with battle intent. His aura instantly soared crazily. Woo woo. Boom. In the sky, the wind and clouds surged again, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. But it was not a dark cloud. It was a purple-gold cloud. The dancing thunder and lightning were also purple-gold. What? To use battle intent to break the shackles and open the path to becoming a god? How is this possible? Willow Tree and the others were extremely shocked. This was the first time they had heard of such a path to becoming a god. Crack. Suddenly, a purple-gold divine thunder fell from the sky, carrying a shocking heavenly power, and struck towards Qin Feiyang. Thunder tribulation actually fell from the sky. What's going on? Everyone was surprised. Going against the heavens. Heavenly tribulation. Above the clouds, the golden small beast looked at Qin Feiyang and muttered to itself. Listening to its tone, it was more and more interested in Qin Feiyang. Crack. The heavenly tribulation fell at an extremely fast speed. Almost at the same time as the dragon shadow, it blasted onto Qin Feiyang's body. His body was instantly torn to pieces. The cedar that merged into his body was constantly releasing a huge amount of vitality to repair his body. Crack. The second heavenly tribulation fell again, destroying all directions. Willow Tree and the others, including the fire dragon, did not dare to stay and quickly retreated. Boom. The heavenly tribulation blasted onto Qin Feiyang's body, and with a crack, the armor on his body was actually shattered. Crack. The third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth heavenly tribulation fell one after another. Qin Feiyang's entire body was submerged by the heavenly tribulation, and his body was fragmented, and even the vitality of the cedar could not repair it. Crack. The ninth heavenly tribulation fell with a loud bang. Qin Feiyang's body, Qianquan bag, and even the inner demons were directly shattered. The tens of thousands of cedar that merged into his body rushed out of his flesh and blood. But at this moment, every cedar looked dim and their leaves were also withered. Obviously. In order to heal Qin Feiyang's injuries, they had little vitality left. At the same time, the ancient castle also appeared. It floated in the void, and pieces of divine light shone down, enveloping all the cedar and blocking the remaining power of the heavenly tribulation. The divine phoenix blade also rose into the air and floated beside the ancient castle, as if it was seeking protection. In the sky, the purple-gold clouds also dispersed. The heavenly tribulation also disappeared. Everything slowly returned to normal. Is he dead? Willow Tree and the others looked at where Qin Feiyang was and were all dumbfounded. He didn't die in the hands of the fire dragon, but died under the heavenly tribulation. Going against the heavens. It was easy to say, but in reality, the price was one's life. Why did he have to do this? He had already comprehended the profound meaning of becoming a god, and becoming a god was only a matter of time. Why did he have to be so stupid? Wait. I feel that the slave seal hasn't disappeared. What's going on? Since he's dead, my enslavement mark should disappear as well. Ning Mingi suddenly said. It didn't disappear. Willow Tree was stunned, and quickly looked into his sea of consciousness to sense carefully. After a while, his eyes trembled. The slave seal really did not disappear. If the slave seal did not disappear, did it mean that the young master was actually not dead? But the fire dragon did not know all this. Seeing Qin Feiyang being blown to pieces by the heavenly realm, he was stunned at first, and then laughed. You want to overestimate yourself and open a new path to becoming a god, how ridiculous. After that, he looked at Willow Tree and the others, and said, although Chang Shui is in your hands, I have a guardian and a creator behind me. You can choose to submit or die. Willow Tree looked up at him, and a trace of contempt flashed in his eyes. Then he looked away without saying a word and looked at Qin Feiyang. Young master, I believe that you are not dead. He clenched his hands, and his face was full of confidence and expectation. It seems that you have chosen to die. In that case, I will fulfill your wish. Fire Dragon smiled coldly, and was about to fight Willow Tree and the others. Unyielding and unyielding, never say defeat, suddenly. An ethereal voice echoed in the void. Young master. Willow Tree and the others were refreshed and scanned the void. Because it was Qin Feiyang's voice. Not dead. How is this possible? Fire Dragon scanned the void, and his millstone-sized fierce eyes were full of disbelief. But everyone only heard Qin Feiyang's voice, but did not see Qin Feiyang. Boom! All of a sudden, an astonishing battle intent surged out, roaring in the void like a torrent. Everyone looked at the place where the battle intent emerged. Immediately, a drop of purple gold dragon blood entered their sight. That drop of purple gold dragon blood was suspended in the yellow sand, condensed and did not melt, like a gem, shining with divine light, extremely dazzling. Ning Mingi said, that can't be the young master, right? Before his voice died away, that drop of purple gold dragon blood suddenly dispersed and turned into a vague figure. Then, the figure quickly solidified. In less than 5 breaths, a living Qin Feiyang appeared in front of everyone's eyes. He closed his eyes, his skin was like a newborn baby, and his whole body was glowing with a dazzling purple gold divine light. Even the inner demons and the Qiankuan bag were condensed again, floating next to Qin Feiyang. The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyang with a complicated expression. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang did not have the slightest aura on him, as if he was an ordinary person. How can this be? Fire Dragon shook his head frantically, his face full of disbelief. He's not dead. He's really not dead. Willow Tree and the others were excited. Little bastard, the heavenly tribulation can't kill you, let me. The fire dragon suddenly let out a roar and swooped down like a bolt of lightning. Its enormous tail was raised high up in the air as it swatted towards Qin Feiyang. Young master, get out of the way. Willow Tree's face changed, and he hurriedly shouted. Swish! At the same time, Qin Feiyang suddenly opened his eyes, and 2 rays of divine light shot out from his eyes. Boom! The next moment, his figure shuddered as a terrifying aura burst out from his body. Following that, his cultivation was revealed before everyone's eyes. False god! Willow Tree and the others were shocked. They did not expect that he would succeed and open a new path to becoming a true god. Fire Dragon's eyes also trembled, and then the murderous intent in his eyes became thicker. A wave of divine power appeared from his giant tail, shattering a large area. It's time for me to fight back. Qin Feiyang murmured, his eyes flashing with murderous intent. He grabbed the air, and the divine phoenix blade, which was floating next to the ancient castle, suddenly flew across the sky and fell into his hand. Then, Qin Feiyang grabbed the divine phoenix blade, and a surge of purple-gold divine power rushed out from his palm. The divine phoenix blade quickly recovered, and he slashed. Clang! Accompanied by a deafening metallic sound, a few dragon scales on the fire dragon's giant tail shattered on the spot. And the divine phoenix blade did not even enter its flesh. Ah! Fire dragon screamed in pain, and rushed to the sky like lightning. The real battle has only just begun. Chapter 1653. One man and one beast flew into the sky one after another. As it continued to recover, the sharpness of the divine phoenix blade became more and more terrifying. Clang! Qin Feiyang's eyes were like lightning. With a wave of his hand, the divine phoenix blade pierced through the air like lightning and slashed fiercely on the fire dragon's body. A few dragon scales were shattered again. The divine phoenix blade sank into its flesh and blood flowed out. The fire dragon howled in pain. It suddenly turned around and glared at Qin Feiyang. Its eyes were burning with raging flames of fury. Little bastard, do you really think that you can turn the situation around after stepping into the semi-divinity realm? Let me tell you, don't be too naive. Boom! Its aura also skyrocketed. In an instant, it rose to the semi-divinity realm. The divine phoenix blade was directly sent flying by its aura. Bastard, shameless. Willow Tree cursed angrily. There's nothing wrong with it. After all, we agreed from the beginning that its cultivation would be suppressed to the same level as Brother Qin. Now that Brother Qin has broken through to the semi-divinity realm, it should also raise its cultivation to the semi-divinity realm. Li Yun said. Ning Mingi raised his eyebrows and said, in that case, won't the young master lose his advantage? He has no advantage against the fire dragon in the first place. Even if he breaks through to the semi-divinity realm now, there is still a huge gap between his divine power and divine body. To put it bluntly, once the fire dragon goes crazy, it will immediately destroy everything. Because now, the cedar can no longer provide it with vitality. Li Yun said in a deep voice. Wrong. Yu Huang said. What's wrong? Li Yun was suspicious. Just wait and see. The fire dragon will definitely be the one defeated in the end. Yu Huang smiled coldly. Li Yun was stunned. He had so much confidence in Qin Feiyang. Back to the fire dragon. After its cultivation reached the semi-divinity realm, a wave of divine power immediately emerged from its body and rushed toward Qin Feiyang. The divine might emitted by the divine power was several times stronger than before. As its cultivation increased, the power of its divine power would also increase. However, Qin Feiyang's expression remained unchanged. Whoosh! He made a grabbing motion in the air, and the armor below flew up and automatically attached itself to his body. The battle character art was activated once again. Immediately after, he grabbed the divine phoenix blade and stepped into the air to meet the fire dragon's divine power. No matter how many tricks you have, you won't be able to escape today. The fire dragon grinned. Really? Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. He raised his other arm and a golden light burst out. Return formula. He wanted to see how powerful the return formula would be after he broke through to the false god realm. Boom! In an instant, the golden light and the divine power collided. At this moment, even the heavens and earth lost their color. The next moment, under the shocked gaze of the fire dragon, the divine power was actually reflected back. How is this possible? Li Yun's face was also filled with shock. The return formula is a heaven-defying divine art. Previously, it couldn't reflect the fire dragon's divine power because Qin Feiyang's cultivation wasn't high enough. Now, with Qin Feiyang's breakthrough, the power of the return formula naturally manifested. Yu Huang said. A heaven-defying divine art. Li Yun murmured. In the blink of an eye. The divine power turned in the air and pounced towards the fire dragon. The fire dragon was so shocked by this scene that it couldn't react for a long time. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang, the divine power instantly drowned it, and the dragon's scales shattered one after another. Dragon blood splattered and dyed the void red. "Little bastard, I swear I won't stop until I destroy your bones and scatter your ashes." The fire dragon roared and teleported. It appeared behind Qin Feiyang in an instant and smashed its huge tail at him. A large part of the void suddenly collapsed. "I'm afraid you don't have the ability now." Qin Feiyang sneered, holding the divine phoenix saber and slashing with it. The sharpness of the saber was overwhelming. Boom! The two collided. A few more dragon scales shattered. However, the fire dragon, who had raised his cultivation to the false god realm, was several times stronger than before. Qin Feiyang was also sent flying on the spot. The terrifying force even caused the skin on his arm to split open. "An ant will always be an ant. Even if I give you a chance, you won't be able to turn things around." Huolong laughed wildly. He dragged his enormous body and, like a huge mountain, charged towards Qin Feiyang to crush him. Even an ant can defy the heavens. Qin Feiyang stabilized his body and roared. Purple gold dragon chi and flaming battle chi rolled out. The two god statues immediately appeared in the void above. They were both middle-aged men. One of them was holding a broken sword, as if he was the ruler of this world, displaying the domineering aura of a king. The other was holding a long spear, as if an emperor had descended to the world, looking down on the mountains and rivers as if everything was an ant in his eyes. That's right. It was the third move of the divine dragon seal and the third move of the fire phoenix art, the emperor of all spirits. Clang! As soon as the two divine statues appeared, they waved the broken sword and the long spear at the same time and charged towards the fire dragon. Although the two peerless overlords were not real people, it was enough to make people tremble in fear. Roar! Immediately, the fire dragon let out a miserable howl, and a 3 feet long and half a meter deep wound appeared on its giant tail. Blood poured out like a waterfall. However, the two deity arts also shattered with the sound. Qin Feiyang also suffered a considerable backlash, and purple gold dragon blood kept spurting out. However, compared to the fire dragon's injuries, his injuries were nothing. Sigh. Looking at this scene, Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. The difference between a false god and a war god was still very big. Although the fire dragon suppressed its cultivation, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to destroy its divine body. If it was a false god, it would be able to kill it instantly. However, the fire dragon flew into a rage out of humiliation. Boom! A blazing sun rose into the sky, shining with divine light. A dragon shadow roared in the blazing sun, its divine power surging, shaking the heavens and the earth. Not good, it also used a divine art. The willow tree's expression changed. So what if it's a divine art? Qin Feiyang gathered his thoughts, and his aura was like a rainbow. A wave of fire rolled out, surging into the sky. The sky instantly turned into a sea of fire. The divine power roared, and the sky trembled, crazily colliding with the divine power of the blazing sun. What kind of divine art is this? I've never seen it before. The willow tree was shocked. Yeah, I've never seen it before either. Yu Huang said. Roar! In the blazing sun, the dragon's shadow roared out. Chirp! At the same time, accompanied by a high-pitched phoenix cry, a divine phoenix flapped its huge wings and flew out of the sea of fire. The divine phoenix's body was thousands of feet long. When it spread its wings, it covered the sky, and its divine power was boundless. Divine phoenix. Could this be the fourth style of the fire phoenix technique? The willow tree murmured. Kill. Qin Feiyang and the fire dragon roared at almost the same time, their killing intent soaring into the sky. The dragon's shadow roared in the sky. The divine phoenix's flames were torrential. The two divine beasts suddenly fought in the sky, and the sky was dark. Chirp. More than 10 breaths later. With a wail, the divine phoenix disintegrated. Divine power, false god power, Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He could feel that the fire dragon's divine art was not comparable to the fire phoenix technique at all. But in the end, the fire dragon's divine art had the upper hand. This was the difference between divine power and false god power. The fire phoenix technique was evolved from the false god power. The fire dragon's divine art was evolved from divine power. Although the fire dragon's divine art was not comparable to the fire phoenix technique, because of divine power, it had the upper hand. And, do you believe me now? No matter how many tricks you have, they are useless in front of me. Go to hell for me. The fire dragon laughed. The dragon's shadow suddenly swooped down, roaring towards Qin Feiyang. It's not over yet, what are you in a hurry for? Qin Feiyang snorted from his nose. Before his voice faded. Chirp. Accompanied by a phoenix cry, another divine phoenix rushed out of the sea of fire and pounced towards the dragon's shadow. What's going on? The fire dragon was bewildered. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly, this is the ultimate mystery of the fire phoenix technique, rebirth from fire. Rebirth from fire? Doesn't that mean that this divine phoenix will continue to be reborn? Li Yun was bewildered. That should be the case. Willow Tree nodded. Li Yun said in shock, then Brother Qin is now in an invincible position. Li Yun's voice fell into the fire dragon's ears. The fire dragon immediately laughed and said, what invincible position? Once a person dies, no matter how powerful the divine art is, it will disappear. Finished. It opened its mouth wide. A dragon's breath surged out of its mouth like a torrent, drowning the sky and rushing towards Qin Feiyang. This was also one of the divine dragon's trump cards, comparable to a divine art. Wherever the dragon's breath passed, the void shattered, and a terrifying aura rolled in all directions. Then let's see who will die in the end. Qin Feiyang's eyes became colder and colder. The return formula reappeared. The golden light was dazzling, illuminating heaven and earth. Compared to the divine dragon technique and the fire phoenix technique, the 6-word divine art was the real heaven-defying divine art. Boom! In just a moment, the golden light collided with the dragon's breath. With a deafening sound, the two were annihilated at the same time in the void. To be able to fight on par with the dragon's breath, this return formula is indeed heaven-defying. Ning Mingi was secretly speechless. Chirp. High up in the sky. The divine phoenix wailed and dissipated again. But in the next moment, another divine phoenix roared out from the sea of fire. Looking at the fire phoenix that was constantly being reborn, the fire dragon's expression became extremely gloomy. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's voice sounded, and said, I've played with you for so long, it's time to end it. In his words, there was a shocking killing intent. End? The fire dragon was stunned, lowered his head to look at Qin Feiyang, and mocked, are you joking? The one who should end the battle is me, not you, understand? Then let's wait and see. Qin Feiyang smiled and put away the divine phoenix blade. Why did he put away the divine phoenix blade? Willow Tree and the others were bewildered. Swish! In the next moment, under their shocked gazes, they saw that Qin Feiyang had appeared one after another beside Qin Feiyang. Finally, standing in the void above, there were as many as 101 Qin Feiyang. Huolong was also shocked by this sudden turn of events. Every Qin Feiyang was exactly the same. And their cultivation had all reached the false god realm. What the hell is this? Clones. Chapter 1654. As pseudo-gods, of course they knew about clones. Clones were usually condensed from god power, pseudo-god power, or battle chi. Therefore, generally speaking, clones, be it strength or methods, were weaker than the original body. But now, Qin Feiyang's clones, be it methods or aura, were exactly the same as Qin Feiyang's original body. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they would even think that these were Qin Feiyang's twin brothers. The fire dragon was also extremely shocked. What kind of heaven-defying divine art was this? Kill! Qin Feiyang and 100 clones raised their arms and pointed at the fire dragon. The invisible force roaring above their heads turned into a huge wave and rolled towards the fire dragon. Good! Let me see how heaven-defying your methods are. The fire dragon roared. It opened its mouth and spat out a dragon breath, pouncing on the invisible force. Boom! Both of them were aggressive, like comets streaking across the sky, and fiercely colliding with each other. This time, it was no longer a stalemate. The invisible force crushed over, and the dragon breath was instantly annihilated. Immediately after, the invisible force pounced on the fire dragon. Roar! The fire dragon's scream suddenly resounded through the sky. The fire dragon, who was drowned by the invisible force, had its dragon scales shattered, its skin and flesh were torn open, and its flesh and blood flew everywhere. Amazing! Li Yun murmured. How is it? I was right, the fire dragon will be defeated sooner or later. Yu Huang said proudly. Li Yun glanced at it, then looked at Qin Feiyang and the fire dragon again, and said, although Brother Qin has turned the situation around, you can't let your guard down. What are you trying to say? Willow Tree and the others looked at him suspiciously. Don't forget the fire dragon's true cultivation. Don't believe the fire dragon's promises so easily. I'm sure that when its life is at stake, it will not hesitate to use its full strength. Li Yun thought to herself. You mean, it doesn't suppress its cultivation? Yu Huang said. Yes. We have to be vigilant, just in case. Wait, I have a plan that might be able to eliminate the fire dragon in one fell swoop. Li Yun said. What? Willow Tree asked. Li Yun muttered a few words to himself. Willow Tree, Ning Mingi. Yu Huang's eyes lit up when he heard this. He nodded and said, let's do that. The next moment, Li Yun disappeared with Willow Tree and the others. Qin Feiyang also noticed their disappearance, but he didn't pay attention to it. Because he didn't need to think to know that he must have gone to the spatial divine item. His gaze was definitely locked onto the fire dragon. At this moment, the fire dragon's entire body was a mess of flesh and blood. Its dragon scales were also in pieces. A trace of weakness finally crept up in its huge pupils. But it was more anger. It stared at Qin Feiyang, its eyes like a blade, and said word by word, little bastard, you have to pay the price for your stupid actions. Divine power surged, and 9 fire dragons appeared out of nowhere. Each fire dragon was more than 10,000 feet long, like majestic mountain ridges, hovering above its head, and the dragon's power shook the sky. 9 dragons killing array. As it roared, the 9 fire dragons connected head to tail, forming a pentagram pattern. Boom! In an instant, a destructive aura burst out from his body. What kind of divine art is this? What a terrifying aura! In the spatial divine item, Willow Tree and the others trembled physically and mentally, and a feeling that came from the depths of their souls emerged uncontrollably. And behind them, there were more than 100 people. They were the fake gods of the Vanga League and the Vanga League. The leader of the 7 evils, Chui Li, was also there. Looking at the pentagram, their faces were filled with horror. Little bastard, wake up! The fire dragon roared. The pentagram formed by the 9 fire dragons suddenly fell, and the void within 10,000 miles was instantly shattered, turning into nothingness. The one who should wake up is you. The Emperor of 9 and 5. The Emperor of all spirits. 101 Qin Fei Yang roared. Rumble, in the sky. A gale suddenly rose, and purple-gold clouds surged from the horizon. Following a series of deafening claps of thunder, 202 statues appeared in the sky. That divine power roared in all directions. The sky, the void, and the desert all trembled violently. If God blocks, kill God. If devil blocks, kill devil. Kill. Qin Fei Yang roared into the sky. The 202 statues raised their broken swords and spears at the same time, and attacked the pentagram. Rumble. A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering sound suddenly exploded in this place. Lu Mu and the others were spurting blood from their ears. Crack. The pentagram shattered on the spot. The fire dragon spat out a mouthful of dragon blood. Its body trembled, and its eyes were filled with disbelief. The 9 dragons killing formation was its strongest move, but it couldn't stop Qin Fei Yang. Just as it was distracted, the 202 statues arrived in front of it, and the sharpness of the spears and broken swords tore through the sky. The fire dragon quivered and hurriedly performed teleportation, fleeing through the air. Roar! But if it didn't escape unscathed. Accompanied by a heart-wrenching cry, a dragon tail more than 10 meters long fell from the sky. Willow tree, Yu Huang, when the battle is over, I'll treat you to dragon meat. Seeing this, Qin Fei Yang laughed out loud, and instantly rushed to the front of the dragon tail, and slapped it with his palm. The dragon tail immediately flew towards the place where Willow tree and the others disappeared. Dragon meat. Inside the spatial divine object. Their eyes lit up. Willow tree urged, Li Yun, hurry. Li Yun immediately left the spatial divine object, grabbed the giant tail, and returned to the spatial divine object. At the same time, the fire dragon appeared in the sky a few miles away. Blood flowed out of the wound. Looking at the dragon tail that was taken away by Li Yun, its entire body was trembling. But it wasn't fear. It was anger. Shua. All of a sudden, it looked at Qin Fei Yang, its eyes flashing with strong killing intent. Following closely. It actually raised its head and laughed wildly. Is it crazy? Inside the spatial divine object. Willow tree and the others looked at each other. Laugh all you want. Because this might be the last time you'll laugh in your life. Qin Fei Yang stood against the wind and waved his hand fiercely. 100 incarnations also waved their hands at the same time. The 202 god statues wielded broken swords and long spears. Like a powerful army of war gods, they charged toward the fire dragon with vigor. The last time you laugh. Kid, you're too naive, too laughable, too childish, too ignorant, too stupid. Now, I'll send you to hell to reunite with Qin Batian. Boom! A monstrous divine might rushed out from the fire dragon's body. Its cultivation instantly broke through the bottleneck of the false god and stepped into the war god realm. Don't forget our promise. Qin Fei Yang was shocked and said angrily. What bullshit promise? Do you think I care? Fire dragon laughed loudly, divine power covering the sky and earth, sweeping through the sky. Crack. Boom. The 202 god statues shattered one after another. At the same time. Above. The dragon figure's aura also surged and instantly tore the divine phoenix apart. Then. It rushed into the sea of fire. The entire sea of fire was instantly annihilated and turned into nothingness. Puff. Qin Fei Yang spat out blood from his mouth, his body kept retreating, and his face was pale. As expected of a beast, you don't even have the slightest bit of integrity. He roared angrily and retreated like lightning. Clang! But at the same time as he retreated, the void in front of him suddenly exploded with a heaven-shaking bang. Then, a sharp aura that could tear the sky and earth apart appeared. Willow Tree and the others appeared with Chang Shui. Chui Li and more than 100 false gods of the Vangu League and the Fengtian Palace also appeared with them. And Chang Shui was currently in a state of awakening. I see. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. It turned out that Willow Tree and the others entered the spatial divine item to secretly awaken Chang Shui. You went back on your words, damn it. Willow Tree roared. Clang! Blue snow immediately flew out of his hand, turning into a streak of light that slashed towards Huolong's divine power. Boom! The divine power disintegrated like dead wood. Chang Shui went straight for the fire dragon. Everything happened too quickly and too suddenly. The fire dragon had no time to react at all, his eyes filled with fear. Just as the fire dragon was about to die at the hands of Chang Shui, a rule power suddenly descended from the sky and blasted toward Chang Shui. Clang! Chang Shui was immediately sent flying. The fire dragon also came back to its senses and immediately used teleportation to fly up into the sky. Damn guardian! Willow Tree roared and controlled Chang Shui to fly into the sky. Like an arrow, it pierced through the fire dragon's abdomen. Roar! The fire dragon let out a miserable howl as his sea of qi shattered on the spot. Just as the fire dragon fell in despair, the rule power appeared again and swept up the fire dragon and disappeared without a trace. Willow Tree glared at the sky and roared, "Bastard, come out and fight if you have the guts. What's the point of hiding in the dark? That's right. You're a guardian after all. Don't you find it embarrassing?" Ning Mingyi and the others also cursed angrily. Qin Feiyang also had an angry look on his face. You guys are really arrogant. Suddenly, a mocking voice spread in the sky. Whoosh! Then, a golden stream of light descended like lightning and appeared in the void in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. It was the golden small beast. There was no aura on it at all. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at the small beast and didn't feel the slightest sense of danger. Whoosh! 2 more streams of light descended from the sky. It was the guardian python and the fire dragon. The 2 beasts landed behind the golden small beast and glanced at Qin Feiyang and the others with eyes full of ridicule. Did you guys notice that they are very respectful to this small beast? Willow Tree was surprised. Yes. Everyone secretly responded. Qin Feiyang glanced at the giant python and the fire dragon, then looked at the golden small beast and said, "Are you the creator of the miracle?" Creator? The small beast was stunned and said playfully, "Do you think I am? Don't talk nonsense with it. Just attack." Willow Tree shouted and controlled Chang Shui to attack the small beast. Seeing this scene, the giant python and the fire dragon's eyes were even more mocking. "Young man, don't be too impulsive." The small beast smiled faintly. It didn't seem to make any movements, but an invisible force emerged out of thin air. The next moment, Chang Shui stopped in the void, motionless. How is this possible? Willow Tree and the others were shocked. Qin Feiyang was also dumbfounded. He looked at the small beast in shock and said with difficulty, "The power of law, time stop." Not bad, you have a good eye. There was once a world countless times bigger than a miracle, and I could swallow it in one gulp. Do you think I'm afraid of the so-called punishment of the heavens? Swallow a great world. Qin Feiyang's body and mind trembled. What kind of existence was this? So be it, you hurt the fire dragon, and I killed your people, so we're even. As for this dagger, I like it very much, so I'll take it. Small beast joked. The giant python hurriedly said, "Sir, what about the inner demons and the cedars? Aren't we going to get rid of them together? The inner demons not far away suddenly had a look of surprise in their eyes. Where it's possible to let people off, we should spare them, we can't kill them all. In short, we have to win people over with virtue, we can't use violence. Don't you agree? Small Beast said. The giant python and the fire dragon looked at each other, speechless. They had already killed everyone around Qin Feiyang, how could they win people over with virtue? Shameless. But they didn't dare to say this out loud. Boy, if you want to take revenge, come to the 3rd floor, I'll be waiting, but the prerequisite is that you have to have the strength to defeat me. Small Beast looked down at Qin Feiyang, said contemptuously, then waved its claws, and disappeared with the fire dragon and the giant python. Ah! Qin Feiyang roared to the sky, his blood-red eyes full of anger and killing intent. After a long time, he helplessly lowered his head and glanced at the empty void and desert. They were all dead. He was the only one left. He was like a helpless child, slowly lying on the yellow sand, crying bitterly. He had never been so desperate. Even when he was expelled from the imperial capital, it couldn't compare to the pain of losing his companions and friends at this moment. Sigh. Inner demons sighed deeply, walked in front of Qin Feiyang, and said, see, not everyone is as kind as you, in today's world, if you want to achieve great things, you have to be ruthless enough. Tens of thousands of cedar trees also flew in front of Qin Feiyang, shaking their withered branches and leaves, as if comforting Qin Feiyang. At the same time, they also released what little vitality they had left, pouring into Qin Feiyang's body, repairing Qin Feiyang's heart. Qin Feiyang looked up at the cedar trees and inner demons, then lowered his head, like a stone statue, sitting on the ground, not saying a word. Swish. Soon. Zhuge Mingyang also appeared from the space divine item, looking at Qin Feiyang with a trace of sympathy in his eyes. But more than that, he was gloating. Boom. He released his divine thoughts, scanning the void, and said, Li Yun's space divine item is also gone, it seems that Ningyi Li Chang, and the others are also dead. Qin Feiyang said angrily, isn't this what you want? Yes. This is what I want. Not only that, I'm going to kill you. Zhuge Mingyang's eyes flashed with killing intent. Swish. As soon as he said that, tens of thousands of cedar trees immediately moved, like an iron bucket, protecting Qin Feiyang. Seeing this, Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, it's hard not to be jealous of you. Haven't you heard of this saying? There are gains and losses. Although I am kind, at the same time, it is easier for me to gain the trust of everyone, including these cedar trees. And you are cruel and merciless, who is willing to believe you? Inner demon snorted coldly. Even so, what's the use? Aren't they all dead? Even your best partners, White-Eyed Wolf, Fatso, Lu Hong, and the others are all dead. Don't you think it's funny? Zhuge Mingyang joked. You, inner demons glared at him. Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up, his eyes flashing with a touch of determination, and said, no, they won't die. Ah. Zhuge Mingyang was stunned, and said sarcastically, are you stupid? Look at them yourself, they have all turned into blood mist, and the blood mist is still rolling in the air. But inner demons, hearing Qin Feiyang's words, suddenly trembled, and stared at Qin Feiyang in shock. Qin Feiyang looked at inner demons and said, immediately collect the blood mist. I don't agree. Inner demons said angrily. Without them, what's the point of me living alone? If you don't agree, I will die in front of you. If I die, you won't be able to live either. Qin Feiyang shouted. Why are you so stupid? Inner demons roared angrily. Stupid people have stupid luck, don't you know? Qin Feiyang laughed. I really admire you. Inner demons stared at Qin Feiyang, waved his hand, and the blood mist rolling in the air suddenly turned into a waterfall, condensing in front of him. Following closely. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and brought Shui Song, inner demons, and the blood mist into the castle. Idiot! Zhuge Mingyang sneered. In his opinion, Qin Feiyang must have been stimulated, and his brain must be damaged, otherwise why would he say such stupid words? Qin Feiyang sat cross-legged on the bluestone, looked at the blood mist floating in front of him, and muttered, "Don't worry, I definitely won't let you die." With that, he closed his eyes. A moment later. The inner demons finally finished speaking. Ling Yunfei and the other two's faces were also filled with anger. They never would have thought that so many things would happen outside in such a short period of time. Even Chang Shui had been snatched away. The three of them turned their heads to look at Qin Feiyang, their eyes filled with unbearable pain. Not to mention Willow Tree and the others, people like White-Eyed Wolf, Fatso, and Lu Hong were all Qin Feiyang's most cherished companions, friends, and family. One could imagine how big of a blow it would be to him if they all died at once. Luo Qingzhu sighed, "Let's not disturb him, let him calm down by himself." The inner demon said, "He's not calming down, he's trying to save Fatso and the others." What? Save Fatso and the others? Wait. Aren't they dead? How? Ling Yunfei was bewildered. The inner demons was about to speak when the miss of the Dragon Phoenix House sighed and said, "The fourth move of the Divine Dragon Technique can save everyone." How do you know? The inner demons raised his eyebrows. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix House did not say anything. She looked at Qin Feiyang with a trace of pity in her eyes. The fourth move of the Divine Dragon Technique? What are you talking about? Ling Yunfei and Luo Qingzhu looked at the two of them suspiciously. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix House said, "Emperor Qin is kind-hearted and cares about the common people. Therefore, when he created the Divine Dragon Technique, he created a heaven-defying technique that can save the common people." It's the fourth move? Ling Yunfei asked. Yes. The fourth move is called Gate of Rebirth. And the fourth move is divided into 4 realms. Initial, small success, major success, and perfection. Initial, can save 1,000 people. Small success, can save 10,000 people. Major success, can save 1,000,000 people. Reaching the perfection stage, can save billions of people. Feiyang should still be at the initial stage. Although it's initial stage, as long as there's a little bit of blood left in the dead, he can be saved. But at the same time, he will pay a heavy price. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix House said. What price? Ling Yunfei asked. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix House said, "The fourth move is to sacrifice oneself in exchange for the rebirth of others. The price to pay for each realm is different. The price to pay for the initial stage is to lose one's cultivation." The inner demons added, "And it's a complete loss. No divine pill can save it." What? Ling Yunfei's body trembled. It turned out that this was the reason why Qin Feiyang had not used the fourth move. He hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang and said angrily, "I won't allow you to do this." The inner demons waved his hand and said, "Forget it. I've already objected to it outside. It's useless." Luo Qingzhu also hurriedly advised, "Feiyang, you really have to think about it. This price is not something you can bear." That's right. It wasn't easy for you to cultivate to this step. If you lose everything just because you save them, then wouldn't your previous efforts be in vain? Actually, we all know that to you, losing your cultivation is even more painful than death. Because you have already tasted the feeling of losing your cultivation. Listen to our advice and don't do anything stupid. I believe that Fatso and the others will not allow you to do this if they know about it. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix House also tried her best to persuade him. However, Qin Feiyang did not seem to hear it and did not open his eyes. Ling Yunfei said angrily, "Stupid, stupid. I don't care. In any case, I'm just the inner demons. He's the main body. He can do whatever he wants. The inner demons said in a fit of anger. A moment later, Qin Feiyang finally opened his eyes and swept his gaze over them. The purple gold dragon aura suddenly burst out of his body. Are you really going to do this? Ling Yunfei said angrily. Qin Feiyang said, I've already lost enough in this life, I can't lose everyone again. If the ones who died today were you guys, I would do the same. As soon as he finished, the purple gold dragon aura soared into the sky. Purple gold clouds quickly appeared in the entire sky of the spatial divine object. Sigh. The inner demons sighed and silently retreated to the side. Ling Yunfei and the other two looked at each other and silently retreated with a heart full of helplessness. Boom! Crack! Between the clouds, the sound of thunder gradually became louder and lightning roared. Roar! A purple gold divine dragon was faintly discernible in the clouds, emitting a great dragon's might. Soon, a second, third, and fourth purple gold divine dragon appeared. They would occasionally fly out from the clouds, revealing their huge bodies. Each of them was more than 10,000 feet long, covering the sky and the sun. About half an hour passed. A total of 99 purple gold divine dragons appeared in the sky. They danced in the clouds and hovered in the sky. Every dragon's scale on their bodies emitted a dazzling purple gold divine light, and a mighty dragon's might enveloped the world. 99 purple gold divine dragons, what a spectacular scene. Such a scene was rare in one's life. Ling Yunfei and the others looked at the sky and were deeply shocked by this scene. Roar! Suddenly, the 99 purple gold divine dragons roared at the sky in unison. Then, they gathered together. The dragon heads faced the sky and the dragon heads faced the ground. From afar, they looked like pillars of divine metal, standing between heaven and earth and shining with purple gold divine light in all directions. With my will, I seize the creation of heaven and earth. With my body, I seize the origin of the world. Gate of rebirth, appear. Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up and roared at the sky, his long hair fluttering in the wind. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed into a ruler who controlled heaven and earth, and a monstrous domineering aura was released from his body. Roar! The 99 purple gold divine dragons roared at the same time. Clang! In the next moment, accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, a huge stone door appeared above the heads of the 99 purple gold divine dragons. The stone door was 999 feet tall and was emitting a dazzling purple gold divine light. It was engraved with the earth, mountains, rivers, and all living things. Every pattern was as if it was a work of nature and was incomparably real. One could even see the ferocious beasts roaring inside and the humans struggling to survive inside. Just as the gate of rebirth appeared, Qin Feiyang's cultivation level dropped rapidly. Peak 9-star Combat Emperor Realm. 9-star Combat Emperor. 8-star Combat Emperor. 7-star Combat Emperor. 6-star Combat Emperor. However, Qin Feiyang didn't seem to feel anything. He looked at the gate of rebirth and muttered, as long as I can exchange for everyone, so what if I lose my cultivation level? He waved his hand and the blood mist floating in front of him suddenly turned into a waterfall and rushed into the sky and into the gate of rebirth. His cultivation level was still dropping. At the same time, in a certain place, there were medicinal herbs all over the ground. Both those he had seen and those he had never seen before were all here. They were all medicinal herbs that were tens of thousands of years old, hundreds of thousands of years old, and even millions of years old. The medicinal fragrance was rich and the light was overflowing. The heaven and earth were filled with essence that couldn't be dispersed. In the middle of the medicinal herb field, there was a divine tree that reached the sky. But the strange thing was, there was not even a single branch on the sacred tree. Green leaves grew on the trunk like precious jade, sparkling and translucent. At the peak of the divine tree, a beautiful woman sat cross-legged with a guqin on her lap. Her black hair was like a waterfall and she wore a snow-white dress. Her jade-like fingers kept plucking the strings of the guqin, producing a beautiful and pleasant sound. Beside her sat a young man. He was 7 feet tall and his body was thin. His long hair was as white as snow. Although he looked very young, the space between his brows was filled with the feeling of having experienced the vicissitudes of life. In his hand, there was a wine pot. He tasted the wine while looking at the woman. When he heard the sound of the guqin, his handsome face was filled with love for the woman. Chapter 1657. But suddenly, the white-haired young man seemed to have sensed something. He raised his hand and pointed in the air. An image suddenly appeared in the void in front of him. In the image, 99 purple gold divine dragons were holding a huge stone door. A terrifying dragon aura shrouded the world. Below, a young man in white stood on a piece of blue stone and stared at the stone door intently. That's right. This person was Qin Feiyang. The woman stopped playing the zither and looked at Qin Feiyang in the image. She smiled and said, "He's willing to sacrifice himself for a friend. He's still the same as in his previous life. He hasn't changed at all." Yes. The white-haired young man nodded. But, the woman frowned her beautiful brows again. But what? The white-haired young man looked at her in confusion. Is it really okay for the little guy to do this? Isn't it afraid that Qin Feiyang will bear a grudge against it? The woman said. So what if he bears a grudge? With the little guy's current strength, Qin Feiyang won't be its opponent at all. The white-haired young man smiled. Even so, don't forget that Qin Feiyang isn't an ordinary person. He's his reincarnation. With his talent, it's only a matter of time before he catches up. I think it's best to let the little guy restrain himself and not go too far. Otherwise, you'll be implicated. The woman said worriedly. Implicate me? The white-haired young man smiled and his brows were full of arrogance. I'm serious. The woman said angrily. Yes, yes, yes. Madam is right. When I have time, I'll teach it a lesson. The white-haired young man quickly smiled apologetically. When you have time? The woman was stunned and frowned. I don't understand. Are you busy now? You've been playing all day. Of course I'm busy. Look, not only do I have to accompany you, but I also have to accompany my son and give birth to another girl. How can I find the time? Madam, can you not care about these things? Let the little guy handle it himself. Besides, you have to give up something to gain something. Qin Feiyang has lost a lot now, but maybe he will gain even more in the future. The young man in white said meaningfully. He stepped forward and hugged the woman tightly. He chuckled and said, "Let's hurry up and make a baby. Those old people above are urging us. If we don't work harder, I'm afraid we'll be scolded by them again." The woman blushed and said angrily, "It's broad daylight, what are you thinking about? You're my wife. What do you think I'm thinking?" The white-clothed young man chuckled and disappeared with the woman in his arms. The scene in the void also disappeared. Inside the spatial divine item, Qin Feiyang stood on top of the bluestone, gazing at the gate of reincarnation with eyes full of anticipation. By the side, the inner demons, Ling Yunfei, Luo Qingzhu, and the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young Mississippi. Although they had objected at the start, what was done could not be undone. They could only look forward to everyone's rebirth. Time trickled by. Qin Feiyang's cultivation had already fallen to the martial ancestor realm. The gate of reincarnation emitted a vast aura. Finally, as it fell all the way, Qin Feiyang's cultivation finally disappeared completely. There was no aura on his body at all. The moment his cultivation disappeared, one figure after another flew out of the gate of reincarnation one after another. Qin Feiyang's face was filled with ecstasy. He saw the white-eyed wolf, Lu Hong, Fatso, Willow Tree, Yu Huang, Chui Li, Li Yun, Ning Mingi, and so on. Looking at the familiar faces, his eyes could not help but blur. Although it had only been less than an hour since everyone had died, he felt that it had been as long as a few centuries. From the initial despair and pain to the current joy and excitement, he felt as if he was dreaming. Did it really work? Ling Yunfei and Luo Qingzhu were dumbfounded. However, after being reborn, everyone was naked. Everyone's skin was like that of a newborn baby. In the void above. Fatso and the others were confused. Where was this? Hell. They turned to look at the gate of reincarnation, their eyes full of doubts. Could this be the legendary hell? Boom! With the appearance of the last person, the gate of reincarnation collapsed. The 99 purple gold divine dragons also disappeared between heaven and earth. Fatso retracted his gaze and scanned the surroundings. He said suspiciously, "Brother Wolf, this place looks a little familiar." "It does look a little familiar." The white-eyed wolf nodded. Lu Jing suddenly said, "Wait, isn't this Ling Yunfei's space divine item?" "Yes. It really is. What's going on? Aren't we already dead? Why are we in his space divine item?" The winged snow eagle, the pangolin, the black dragon snake, Dan Wangkai, the viper, and the spirit queen were all stunned. Hey, shouldn't you put on your clothes first and then discuss slowly?" Listening to the discussion of the group of people, Ling Yunfei was speechless and shouted loudly. "This is little Ling's voice." Wolf King was pleasantly surprised. The group of people lowered their heads and looked down. When they saw Qin Feiyang and the others, their faces were full of joy. "Wait, put on clothes." Immediately after. Everyone was slightly stunned and looked at themselves. One by one, their faces were full of embarrassment. They hurriedly activated the power of the false god and battle chi to cover their bodies. It was only now that they noticed that they were not wearing any clothes. The first thing they did was to look for the Cosmos bag to get their clothes. However, they found that they could not find the Cosmos bag. Luo Qingzhu asked, "Feiyang, did their Cosmos bag not reborn?" "The gate of reincarnation can only let them be reborn." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Luo Qingzhu frowned and said, "Then didn't we lose a lot?" Qin Feiyang nodded. All his artifacts, herbs, and wealth were with Lu Hong and Dan Wangkai. In other words, these things were all gone. But it didn't matter to him. These were all worldly possessions, as long as he was still alive. Alas! Ling Yunfei let out a long sigh. He looked at Luo Qingzhu and said, "Take out all our spare clothes." Luo Qingzhu nodded. The two of them took out some men's and women's clothes from their Cosmos bags and sent them to Fatso and the others. Everyone hurriedly put them on. "We beasts are more comfortable. We don't need to wear clothes wherever we go." The white-eyed wolf smiled and rushed to Qin Feiyang like lightning. He asked suspiciously, "Little Qin Zi, what the hell is going on? Are we alive or dead now?" The white-eyed wolf, Lu Hong, and the others, after putting on their clothes, also landed around Qin Feiyang one after another, looking confused. They clearly remembered the moment when they were killed by the small beast. By right, it was impossible to survive with their bodies smashed. But now, Qin Feiyang and the others in front of them were so real. Could it be, Qin Feiyang and the others were also killed by the small beast? Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "Pinch your face hard, and you will know whether you are alive or dead now." Everyone raised their arms and pinched their faces hard. Pain. At that moment, they were stunned. Then, they were overjoyed. Pain meant that they were still alive. What are you happy about? Didn't you see that I lost my cultivation in order to save you? The inner demons said angrily. Lost your cultivation? Everyone was shocked and quickly looked at Qin Feiyang. Sure enough. Qin Feiyang was now an ordinary person. The willow tree asked, Young master, can you recover your cultivation? Qin Feiyang shook his head and said with a smile, I have to cultivate again. What? Cultivate again? Everyone's eyes trembled. Didn't this mean that all his cultivation was gone? Boss, why do you have to do this? Do you know how much you have sacrificed in order to cultivate to this point? How long have you worked hard? If I had a choice, I would never let you lose your cultivation in order to save me. Fatso shouted. The inner demons glanced at Fatso, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, See, I told you that they would not agree with what you did. I don't regret it. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. This simple sentence touched the heartstrings of everyone present. The white-eyed wolf said suspiciously, Little Qin Zi, how did you save us? Do you still remember the fourth move of the divine dragon technique? Qin Feiyang said. Yes. The white-eyed wolf nodded and said, I remember that you have never used this move before. Yes. Because this move is not used to kill people, but to save people. Of course, you have to pay a high price. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Ling Yunfei said, I have a question that I have always wanted to ask. What is it? Qin Feiyang turned to look at him. If you use the fourth move now, you will lose your cultivation as the price. In the future, when you cultivate the fourth move to the perfect realm and save billions of people, what will be the price? Ling Yunfei asked. Life. Qin Feiyang said. Ling Yunfei was immediately petrified. Wasn't this price a little too high? The willow tree looked at Ling Yunfei, then at Qin Feiyang and asked, Young master, is there no other way to save them? Qin Feiyang shook his head. Why are you so stupid? Do you think we are worth it? The willow tree suddenly said angrily. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, Of course you are, because you are all my friends and partners. Friends, partners, hearing this, the white-eyed wolf, Fatso, and the others were fine because they had long regarded Qin Feiyang as their family. But the willow tree, Yu Huang, Li Yun, and Ning Mingi all had an indescribable feeling in their hearts. How were they supposed to repay this kindness? Plop! Suddenly, the willow tree knelt on one knee on the ground and said, Young master, willow tree, swear to the heavens that no matter where you go in the future, I will follow you and never leave you. Qin Feiyang was stunned. And this emperor? In the past, I was with you because of your potential pill, but now, this emperor is interested in your character and character. Your cultivation is gone, right? Don't be afraid, let this emperor open the way for you in the future. Yu Huang also looked at Qin Feiyang with a firm gaze. Li Yun looked at Yu Huang and Willow Tree, her eyes flickering. Suddenly, he smiled in relief, turned to look at the fake gods of the palace of Fengtian, and said, From now on, the palace of Fengtian is disbanded. In the future, you will not be loyal to me, but Qin Feiyang. He is our only young master. Disbanded? The people of the palace of Fengtian suddenly became restless. Ning Mingi also looked at Li Yun in surprise. This is an order. Moreover, don't you think it's a very lucky thing to meet such a loyal and righteous young master? Li Yun laughed. Finished. He turned to look at Ning Mingi. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They also knelt on one knee and said respectfully, Young master's benevolence and righteousness have made us sincerely convinced. We are also willing to follow young master to the death and never betray you. We swear to follow you to the death and never betray you. Seeing this, the others took a deep breath and also knelt on the ground and shouted. Ah! Qin Feiyang was stunned. Chapter 1658. This scene was far beyond his expectations. Because when he saved everyone, he didn't think so much at all. In short, he didn't ask for anything in return. But he didn't expect that because of this matter, he had completely subdued these people. Especially Li Yun. She actually announced the dissolution of Fengtian Palace. How much courage did she have to make such a choice? The inner demons walked to Qin Feiyang and said lightly, losing cultivation and wealth to gain people's hearts, is this a loss or a gain? A deal? Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned at the inner demons. Everyone is sincere, how can it be called a deal? You continue to create, sooner or later you will kill yourself. The inner demons snorted and directly returned to the inner world. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. It seemed that his use of the fourth move, the Gate of Rebirth, had annoyed the inner demons. Shaking his head, he looked at Willow Tree and the others and said with a smile, get up, we will be a family in the future, no need to be so polite. Yes. Everyone bowed and got up one after another. Wait. Why don't I see Chang, and the others? A woman suddenly spoke. It was Li Yun's wife. She glanced at the crowd around, her eyes full of panic. Hearing this, everyone hurriedly helped to look for him. But there were only 100 people here. Looking through the crowd, they didn't see Li Chang. Moreover, Li Chang's two brothers were also not found. Why don't I see Shimeng? Zhao Tailai suddenly exclaimed. Zhao Shimeng is also missing. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Ning Mingyi also said, and Yining and Yang, they are also not here. What's going on? Qin Feiyang glanced at the crowd. Indeed, he didn't find Zhao Shimeng, Li Chang, Ning Yifeng, Ning Yiyang, and Li Chang's two brothers. Where did these people go? Could it be that they weren't reborn? But it was impossible. He could resurrect 1,000 people now, and there were less than 1,000 people here. Young master, what's going on? Where are they? Ning Mingyi, Li Yun, and Zhao Tailai looked at Qin Feiyang and asked. I don't know either. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Ling Yunfei asked, where were they originally? When we were fighting with the fire dragon, we were afraid that something would happen to them, so we left them in the spatial divine item. Wait. They can't still be inside the spatial divine object, right? Li Yun hurriedly checked the spatial divine item, but she realized that it had not been reborn. Oh no! Qin Feiyang said. What is it? Everyone looked at him in surprise. Luo Qingzhu asked, Feiyang, could it be that the people who died in the spatial divine object can't be reborn? No. As long as you have a little bit of blood, you can be reborn. And now, they haven't been reborn. This can only mean one thing. They have been annihilated along with the spatial divine item. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Annihilated. Zhao Tailai, Ning Mingyi, and Li Yun trembled both physically and mentally. Zhao Tailai hurriedly ran up, grabbed Qin Feiyang's hand, and begged, young master, you have to save them. Ning Mingyi and Li Yun also looked at Qin Feiyang with pleading faces. There's no other way. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Zhao Tailai cried anxiously, you're so powerful, how can there be no other way? Calm down. Can't you see that boss's cultivation is gone? Even if we find Zhao Shimeng and the others' blood now, we can't save them. Fatso said angrily. Zhao Tailai's body trembled, and he collapsed to the ground powerlessly. His eyes were empty and lifeless as he muttered, I only have one daughter. God, why did you do this to me? Ning Mingyi and Li Yun also lowered their heads, their faces full of sadness. Damn small beast, I swear, I will kill you. Suddenly, Zhao Tailai roared, his killing intent soaring to the sky. Qin Feiyang sighed softly, patted Zhao Tailai's shoulder, and comforted him, my condolences. Let them calm down. Now let's think about how to take back Changshui. Fatso glanced at them and looked at Qin Feiyang. As soon as he heard Chang Shui, Qin Feiyang clenched his hands, and a strong murderous intent burst out from his eyes. But then, he weakly let go of his hands. Now that he had lost his cultivation, how could he take back Chang Shui from small beast? Wasn't this a daydream? Boss, you can't be discouraged. Have you forgotten? Chang Shui is the only thing your mother left for you. Fatso said. Mother. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Right. He couldn't be discouraged. Wasn't it just the loss of his cultivation? He could just cultivate again. Although we lost a lot this time, such as everyone's divine artifacts, herbs, and so on, as long as we are still alive, everything can be redone. I also promise you that in the future, each of you will have a divine artifact of your own. As for now, the fake god will stay here first, and the others will follow me to the castle to cultivate. Willow Tree, Yu Huang, you guys come with me. Qin Feiyang regained his composure and said to everyone. Everyone nodded. Qin Feiyang looked at Ling Yunfei. Ling Yunfei understood and led Qin Feiyang, Fatso, and the others, White-Eyed Wolf and other beasts to appear in the castle. Let's cultivate in seclusion. Strength is the most important. If we don't have enough strength, we're just ants. Qin Feiyang looked at Fatso and the others and said. Ling Yunfei took out a qiankuan bag and smiled, I still have a lot of battle chi pills here, you guys use them first. Fatso and the others nodded and took the qiankuan bag. After distributing some battle chi pills to each of them, they sat cross-legged and entered a state of cultivation. Dan Wangkai also went into seclusion to cultivate. Because his alchemy fire had also been annihilated. Although the nether devil flame was still there was no 9th grade pill furnace. Moreover, Zhuge Mingyang looked at Yu Huang in shock. Yu Huang snorted, you're a scourge, how can we be willing to die when you're not dead? Zhuge Mingyang glanced at the man and beast, and looked at Qin Feiyang in disbelief. How did you do it? Wait, where's your cultivation? Why is it gone? Qin Feiyang ignored him and scanned the main hall. Zhuge Mingyang frowned. Could it be that the resurrection of Willow Tree and Yu Huang had something to do with Qin Feiyang's cultivation? Willow Tree and Yu Huang had been resurrected, then did that mean the others had been resurrected as well? Qin Feiyang stepped forward and asked, why are you still standing outside? Zhuge Mingyang suppressed the doubts in his heart and turned around to look at the door of the great hall. He said angrily, I've tried everything, but I just can't open this door. You should know how to open it. I don't know. Qin Feiyang shook his head. You don't know. Zhuge Mingyang was stunned and frowned, then why are you here? Brother Qin, we're old friends, why are you hiding it from me? Old friends? Weren't you happy when Willow Tree and the others were killed? Qin Feiyang sneered. Hearing this, Willow Tree and Yu Huang's eyes flashed with killing intent. Zhuge Mingyang smiled embarrassedly and said, that was a joke, how can you take it seriously, right? Qin Feiyang glanced at him and took a few steps back, looking at Willow Tree and Yu Huang, saying, try and see if you can open the door. Zhuge Mingyang sneered, even I can't do it, do you think they can? How will we know if we don't try? Lu Mu coldly snorted. He transmitted his voice, Yu Huang, go and protect the young master. You have to be careful. Right now, you don't have a divine weapon, you aren't a match for Zhuge Mingyang. Got it. Baiming Yu Huang silently replied. After that, she sped towards Qin Feiyang with lightning speed. Zhuge Mingyang glanced at the two men and the beast and also retreated to the side. Chapter 1659. Willow Tree stared at the door, his 5 fingers clenched into a fist, constantly accumulating power. Ha! Suddenly, he roared. He punched the door. The power of the false god rolled out. A loud bang resounded through the sky. However, the door didn't move at all. So strong. Willow Tree raised his eyebrows. He took out the castle, poured the power of the false god into it, and smashed the door. Clang! The door still didn't move. Let's try together. Zhuge Mingyang stepped forward and looked at Willow Tree. Okay. Willow Tree glanced at him and nodded. Boom! The two of them slapped at the same time. And they used all their strength. But the result was still useless. Willow Tree said angrily, even this can't open it. Stop! Qin Feiyang said. Willow Tree turned to look at Qin Feiyang, lowered his head and said, this subordinate is incompetent. It's not your fault. I suddenly remembered that when the fire dragon blasted the door with his divine power, the door didn't even tremble, let alone you. Qin Feiyang said. Then how do we open it? Willow Tree raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang stepped forward, glanced at the door, and said, there should be some mechanism. I've searched everywhere outside this hall, but I didn't find any mechanism at all. Zhuge Mingyang shook his head, then looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, you really don't know how to open it? Qin Feiyang said, if I knew, would I let Willow Tree spend so much effort? Then who knows? What if you saw me here and let Willow Tree put on an act? Zhuge Mingyang sneered. Do you think I'm a villain like you? Qin Feiyang retorted. Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang ignored him and walked to the front door, reaching out to touch the door. An ice-cold chill immediately spread from his palm to his heart. There was no mechanism. Brute force would not be able to break it. Didn't this mean that there was no way to enter the hall at all? Back then, the mysterious man had said that it would be very difficult to enter this hall, and it turned out to be true. Do I need blood? Qin Feiyang suddenly froze. Some of the doors had undergone special treatment and required a certain person's blood to open. Qin Feiyang looked at Zhuge Mingyang and asked, have you tested it with your blood? I've tried. Zhuge Mingyang nodded. Obviously. This method wouldn't work either. Otherwise, Zhuge Mingyang would have already gone in. After thinking for a moment, Zhuge Mingyang added, you can give it a try. After all, your purple gold dragon blood is even more noble than our bloodline power. Qin Feiyang said, why do I feel that your words sound so sarcastic? It's the truth. You're thinking too much. Zhuge Mingyang said. Qin Feiyang glanced at him and bit the tip of his index finger. A drop of purple gold dragon blood appeared. His cultivation was abolished, but his bloodline power was not. And his potential imprint was still there. This was the biggest reason why he regained his confidence. As long as the purple gold dragon blood and potential imprint were there, it wouldn't take much time even if he cultivated again. He raised his index finger and pressed it on the door. But after waiting for a long time, the door didn't respond at all. Zhuge Mingyang raised the corner of his mouth and said lightly, it seems that your bloodline power is nothing special. Do you think it will affect me if you mock me like this? It won't. On the contrary, it will make you look ridiculous. Qin Feiyang said contemptuously. Zhuge Mingyang suddenly had a trace of hostility between his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang ignored it and raised his arm again, pressing it on the stone door and pushing it hard. Boom! Just as he pushed, the stone door actually made a deafening sound. This sudden change scared Willow Tree and Qin Feiyang so much that they hurriedly retreated. Yu Huang and Zhuge Mingyang also retreated at lightning speed. The three people and one beast sized up the stone door, their eyes full of surprise. The rumbling sound gradually dissipated. But the stone door was still tightly shut. There was nothing unusual, and nothing jumped out of the hall. Was it an illusion? Zhuge Mingyang asked. We all heard it. How could it be an illusion? Willow Tree rolled his eyes and turned to Qin Feiyang, saying, I'll go take a look. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. If it was before, he would definitely go by himself. But now it was different. Not to mention that his cultivation was destroyed, the castle was also with Willow Tree. If anything happened, even the gods couldn't save him. Willow Tree slowly stepped forward, his face full of vigilance. When he walked to the door, he carefully looked at the door, a trace of surprise gradually crept up in his eyes. Suddenly, his eyes were fixed on the center of the door. Soon, a trace of ecstasy crept up his face, and he shouted, "Young master, come here, there is a crack in the door." "What? A crack in the door?" Hearing that, Yu Huang immediately took Qin Feiyang and rushed to Willow Tree's side. Zhuge Mingyang also ran over with a look of bewilderment. Willow Tree pointed to the door and finally said, "See." The two people and one beast looked at the place where Willow Tree was pointing, and their eyes suddenly lit up. The whole door was originally one, without any cracks. But at this moment, there was a small crack in the center of the door. Although it was very small and almost impossible to see with the naked eye, it did exist. Yu Huang said in astonishment, "Does this mean that the door has been opened?" Hearing Yu Huang's words, Zhuge Mingyang immediately stepped forward and slapped the door. With a bang, the stone door remained motionless. The crack in the door didn't change at all. "I don't believe this," Zhuge Mingyang said angrily, and then punched the door with all his strength. As a result, not only did he not blast the door open, but his arm was numb from the shock. "What's going on?" He was puzzled. Yu Huang and Willow Tree also frowned. Suddenly, the two people and one beast looked at Qin Feiyang together. "Why are you looking at me?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "No. I remember that earlier, it was because you pushed the door with all your might that the rumbling sound was heard. Furthermore, a crack appeared on the door. I think it must have something to do with you," Zhuge Mingyang said. Qin Feiyang was stunned and shook his head. "It should be a coincidence. I'm just a mortal now, and my strength is much weaker than yours. If you can't open the door, how can I open it?" "That's true." Zhuge Mingyang nodded. Even he, a fake god, couldn't open the door. How could a mortal open the door? Willow Tree pondered for a while, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Young master, why don't you try again? Who knows, maybe this door will only give you face." "Only give me face? Do you think I'm the god of creation? Why should it give me face?" Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly, but did as he was told. He went forward and pressed the stone door, and pushed hard. Bang! That deafening noise sounded again. Willow Tree, Yu Huang, and Zhuge Mingyang looked at each other. Was it really because of Qin Feiyang? Qin Feiyang was also shocked. What the hell was going on? When he came back to his senses, he looked at the door gap and found that the door gap had become a little wider. "Young master, it's really giving you face," Willow Tree said excitedly. "It doesn't make sense. Even I, a semi-divinity, am unable to smash it open. How can a powerless mortal like him be able to push it open?" Zhuge Mingyang wailed. "That's my luck," Yu Huang said proudly. "What does this have to do with luck?" Zhuge Mingyang rolled his eyes. Willow Tree thought for a while and asked, "Young master, do you think this hall has something to do with you?" Qin Feiyang was speechless. "Like you, this is my first time here. What can I do with it? Maybe it's just like Yu Huang said. I have a good luck." Zhuge Mingyang's face twitched. This bastard said that he was fat and he really panted. Yu Huang urged, "Since you can open it, hurry up and see what's inside." Qin Feiyang nodded. This time, he pressed his hands on the stone door and pushed hard. Rumble. The loud noise was deafening again. The door gap also became wider and wider. The door of the palace was as big as a mountain. Qin Feiyang stood under the door like a tiny ant. But at this moment, He, the ant, was really pushing down that elephant in front of him little by little. As the door opened, a vast aura surged out of the hall. Whether it was Willow Tree, Yu Huang, or Zhuge Mingyang, they all felt a kind of fear from the soul. It was as if there was an ancient divine king lurking in this hall. As a mortal, he is actually more outstanding than me. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Zhuge Mingyang looked at Qin Feiyang's back and felt very unbalanced. Qin Feiyang was so tired that he was sweating profusely. Although he could open the door, he had to use all his strength. Fortunately, his current body was still the body of a false god. Otherwise, he would be exhausted. Rumble, after a long time, the door was finally opened half a meter wide, which was enough to enter. But inside, it was pitch black. Even the three false gods, Willow Tree, Yu Huang, and Zhuge Mingyang, couldn't tear open the darkness and see what was inside. Feeling. Behind this door, it was like a dark bottomless abyss that no one dared to set foot in. Willow Tree turned to look at Zhuge Mingyang and joked, "Didn't you want to go in? Now that the door has been opened by the young master, why are you still standing here?" Zhuge Mingyang said without blushing, "We are partners. Of course, we should share the joys and sorrows." Partners? Willow Tree snorted and whispered, "Young master, I will go in first to explore. Wait for me here." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded. Willow Tree then transmitted his voice to Yu Huang, "You must be careful of Zhuge Mingyang and protect the young master." "Don't worry." Yu Huang said secretly. Willow Tree looked up at the dark area behind the stone door, took a deep breath, and stepped forward. Buzz! But before his step landed, a white light curtain appeared in front of him and directly bounced Willow Tree away. Huh! Qin Feiyang, Yu Huang, and Zhuge Mingyang were surprised. After Willow Tree stabilized his body, he returned to Qin Feiyang's side with a look of surprise on his face. Qin Feiyang said, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." Willow Tree waved his hand and frowned. "The door has been opened. Why can't we go in?" "Let me try." Yu Huang rose into the air and flew inside. But the result was also blocked by the light curtain. Chapter 1660. The light curtain flickered with dim divine light, like a natural moat, blocking in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Zhuge Mingyang frowned and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Brother Qin, why don't you try?" "Yes. Maybe only the one who pushes open the stone door can go in." Willow Tree's eyes lit up as he guessed. Hearing Willow Tree's words, Zhuge Mingyang's eyes suddenly flashed with a touch of coldness. "What do you want to do?" Willow Tree immediately stared at Zhuge Mingyang gloomily. "What do you mean, what do I want to do? What do I want to do?" Zhuge Mingyang was stunned. "Don't think I didn't see the cold light in your eyes. Let me tell you, if you dare to do anything, I will drag you to hell even if I have to self-destruct." Willow Tree said in a deep voice. "What cold light? I don't know what you are talking about." Zhuge Mingyang said expressionlessly. "Humph." Willow Tree snorted and said in a low voice, "Young master, go ahead. Yu Huang and I will watch outside." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded, glanced at Zhuge Mingyang, and stepped forward. As a result, the light curtain in front of him was as if it was nothing and he directly crossed it. How can this be? I don't accept this. Why can only he go in and I can't? Seeing this, Zhuge Mingyang's killing intent suddenly rose and he slapped at Qin Feiyang's back. Qin Feiyang saw that the situation was not good, and his other foot quickly followed in. At that moment, Qin Feiyang disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Zhuge Mingyang slapped at the light curtain and a terrifying force came from the light curtain. He immediately flew out with a scream and smashed into the yellow sand, looking extremely embarrassed. "Do you know what this is called? You reap what you sow." Willow Tree and Yu Huang turned to look at Zhuge Mingyang and gloated. You reap what you sow. I think you're courting death. Zhuge Mingyang was infuriated. His bone dragon battle soul appeared and he immediately activated his special ability. The cultivation of the willow tree and Yu Huang began to plummet. Willow tree's eyes flashed with killing intent. He immediately led Yu Huang into the castle. Zhuge Mingyang was stunned. A trace of mockery crawled up his face as he said, "Let's see how long you can hide." Subsequently, he strode to the gate and stood guard there. His fighting soul and innate divine ability did not dissipate. Inside the castle, Willow Tree looked at Zhuge Mingyang through the screen with a gloomy face. Not good. This bastard is obviously waiting outside for Qin Feiyang. When Qin Feiyang comes out, he will probably be killed by him. Yu Huang said worriedly. I won't let him succeed. As soon as the young master appears, I will immediately go out. Even if I have to risk my life, I will protect the young master. Willow Tree said word by word. And then there was Qin Feiyang. The moment he entered the main hall, his eyes lit up. At this moment, he was standing at the entrance of the main hall, less than 2 or 3 meters away from Zhuge Mingyang. Moreover, he could clearly see Zhuge Mingyang. But Zhuge Mingyang couldn't see him. And in front of him was an extremely huge hall. Yes. In the air above, there was a diamond-shaped crystal stone. That crystal stone was the size of an adult's palm. It had distinct edges and corners, like a sparkling and translucent diamond, blooming with bright light. Wu. Looking for. Fierce quail. Before. The vast chi that gushed out of the main hall came from that crystal stone. But the whole hall. Wu. Fourth knock poison. Shi Lai Yi Mu. Ao. There was no room. There were no tables and chairs. There was no trace of anyone. It seemed extremely empty. Qin Feiyang turned his head and glanced at Zhuge Mingyang. Glancing around the huge hall. Wu. Wu Jun of the Broken Skeleton Dam Bloody Temple. His voice echoed in the hall for a long time. No one responded to him for a long time. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment. Then he carefully walked around the hall. Wu Jun Su Hu Chu. He X in. Wu Jun. At last. After walking around the hall, he finally confirmed that he was the only one here. The mysterious man said that there was a treasure here that could control the Black Tortoise realm. But where is the treasure? Qin Feiyang looked around suspiciously. Suddenly, he looked at the crystal stone floating in the middle. Is it the treasure that the mysterious man said? He walked forward slowly, always vigilant. He walked to the bottom of the crystal stone and looked up at it. Is this really the treasure that the mysterious man said? After pondering for a while, he gritted his teeth, jumped up, grabbed the crystal stone, and landed steadily on the ground. No danger. Looking at the crystal stone in his hand, he was quite surprised. He thought that this crystal stone might have hidden killing intent. But now there was no change at all. He worried for nothing. But the next moment, the crystal stone released a horrible qi. Without hesitation, Qin Feiyang hurriedly threw away the crystal. However, although the crystal stone was thrown away, the qi emitted by the crystal stone did not disappear. Like a tide, it rushed toward Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's expression changed. He quickly turned around and ran away. Because this qi, for him now, was like the power of heaven. Even his body was cracking. Soon, his whole body was stained with purple gold dragon blood, like a bloody man. Damn the mysterious man, he lied to me. Qin Feiyang cursed and ran toward the gate without hesitation. But when he hit the light curtain was not as invisible as when he came in before. It blasted him out on the spot and rolled on the ground awkwardly. That qi also shrouded him. He could not move at all, like a fish on the chopping board. His fleshly body continued to crack. However, he could only watch as all of this happened. He was powerless to stop it. The purple-gold dragon blood flowed all over the ground. The heart-wrenching pain hit every nerve in his body, making him feel worse than death. I didn't die in the small beast's hands, but I still die here. Is this fate? I'm doomed to die. Qin Feiyang was desperate. The qi emitted by the crystal stone, like ice, imprisoned him on the ground. Crack. Gradually. His body was torn apart and eaten by the crystal stone little by little. His consciousness also disappeared on the spot. Bastard, let him go. The inner demons rushed out of the inner world and pounced on the crystal stone crazily. Because the inner world he was in had also collapsed. And he could clearly sense that Qin Feiyang was on the verge of death step by step. Once Qin Feiyang died, as the inner demons, he would also be annihilated. However, in front of the crystal stone, the inner demons were inferior to ants. Not only were they imprisoned in an instant, but even he could not escape the fate of being eaten by the crystal stone. His consciousness quickly dissipated. In the end, Qin Feiyang and the inner demons disappeared in the hall, not even a hair was left, as if they had never been here. The purple-gold dragon blood on the ground was also absorbed by the crystal stone. Then, the crystal stone rose into the air, returned to its original position, and fell silent. Boom! The gate of the palace also closed. The hall gradually returned to silence. The gate closed. Outside. Looking at the closed gate, Zhuge Mingyang's face was full of suspicion. In the castle, Willow Tree and Yu Huang were also confused. Suddenly, Willow Tree's eyes trembled. He looked at Yu Huang and said in surprise, "Why can't I feel the existence of the slave seal?" What? The slave seal disappeared. Yu Huang's body trembled. Fatso and the others also suddenly opened their eyes and got up to look at Willow Tree. Willow Tree carefully sensed for a moment and looked at everyone. The slave seal has indeed disappeared. When did it disappear? Lu Hong asked quickly. This, Willow Tree could not answer. Because he had been worried about Qin Feiyang before, so he did not pay attention to it. When we entered the miracle, weren't we also controlled by little Qin Zi with the slave seal? Quickly check, is our slave seal still there? White-Eyed Wolf urged. Yes. I actually forgot about this. Fatso patted his head hard. Immediately after, everyone closed their eyes one after another. Only Miss Longfeng and Yu Huang did not close their eyes. The reason for that was because her slave imprint had already been removed by Qin Feiyang when he found her. As for Yu Huang, Qin Feiyang had never controlled him. A moment later, White-Eyed Wolf, Fatso, and the others opened their eyes. Their eyes were full of disbelief. The slave seal had indeed disappeared. "Boss," Fatso cried out in grief. "What the hell is going on? What is hidden in the palace? Damn it, how dare you kill little Qin Zi? Willow Tree, take us out immediately and kill our way in." White-Eyed Wolf roared. "Don't be impulsive. We can't get in at all. Besides, the door has already been closed." Willow Tree said. "So what if it's closed? I don't believe that we can't break it open with so many false gods." White-Eyed Wolf said. Willow Tree said angrily, "Even the fire dragon's divine power can't break it open. Do you think we can?" White-Eyed Wolf was also angry. He rushed in front of Willow Tree and roared, "Then we can't just stand here and watch. Give me the castle. I can't give it to you. If you run out like this, you'll kill everyone. Because Zhuge Mingyang is still outside. None of us is his match." Willow Tree shook his head. "What's a Zhuge Mingyang? Give it to me." White-Eyed Wolf roared. "No. Willow Tree shook his head. What? Seeing that little Qin Zi is dead, you want to take the castle for yourself? White-Eyed Wolf laughed sinisterly. I didn't. I'm doing this for your own good. Why don't you understand? If you want the castle, I can give it to you, but you have to wait until we leave the desert. Willow Tree said. Bastard! White-Eyed Wolf was burning with anger and a terrifying aura rose from his body. Seeing that the situation was not good, Fatso, Lu Zheng, the double-winged snow eagle, Dan Wankai and the others hurried to hold White-Eyed Wolf and persuade him, Brother Wolf, calm down. Willow Tree is right. We can't be impulsive. Little Qin Zi is dead. How can I calm down? Tell me. White-Eyed Wolf roared and 2 drops of blood tears fell from his eyes. Looking at the 2 drops of blood tears, everyone's eyes trembled. How sad must he be to shed blood tears? However, thinking about it, it made sense. The ingrate and Qin Feiyang had known each other since Iron Ox Town. Who knew how much they had gone through together? Although Qin Feiyang and the White-Eyed Wolf did not usually mention this, there was no doubt that their feelings for each other were the deepest. It was even possible that in each other's hearts, they regarded each other as more important than their own lives. It was not difficult to imagine how the White-Eyed Wolf was feeling at this moment. Everyone fell silent. Chapter 1661. Suddenly, Willow Tree gritted his teeth, looked at the White-Eyed Wolf and said, All right, let's go out. The White-Eyed Wolf immediately roared, Ling Yunfei, come out quickly. Swish. In the next moment, Ling Yunfei appeared. Looking at everyone's sorrowful faces, he asked in surprise, What happened again? The White-Eyed Wolf said with killing intent, Call out all the fake gods, we'll kill our way out. Kill our way out. Ling Yunfei was stunned, looking at the main hall and Zhuge Mingyang in front of him, he asked suspiciously, Did Zhuge Mingyang do something to you guys? It's not Zhuge Mingyang. Fatso quickly explained the situation. What? Ling Yunfei's body trembled, and he hurriedly entered the space divine object, stood above the medicine field, and roared, All fake gods, gather quickly. His voice was like a bell, resounding through the sky. Whoosh! One figure after another flew into the sky. Not long later, more than 100 fake gods gathered around Ling Yunfei. Ning Mingyi, Zhao Tailai, Cui Li, and Li Yun were also there. Luo Qingzhu, the Miss of Dragon Phoenix House, and the Crocodile Emperor were also there. What's wrong? Looking at the angry and murderous Ling Yunfei, everyone was bewildered. Ling Yunfei said in a deep voice, Qin Feiyang was killed in that hall. What? When everyone heard this, it was like a bolt from the blue, and their minds rumbled. Feiyang, the Miss of Dragon Phoenix House's body swayed slightly, and she fainted on the spot. Ling Yunfei hurriedly went forward and hugged the Miss of Dragon Phoenix House, only to see that her face was deathly pale. What's going on? Could it be that she also likes Boss Qin? Ling Yunfei was suspicious. Upon hearing the news of Qin Feiyang's death, she actually fainted. He really couldn't find any other reason to explain it. Sister Rushuang, Luo Qingzhu also hurried forward, her face full of concern. Ling Yunfei said, Don't panic. She's just unconscious. She's fine. Luo Qingzhu let out a sigh of relief. She looked at Ling Yunfei and asked, Did you personally witness Qin Feiyang's death? No. It's Fatso and the others. They said that their enslavement seals have all disappeared. Ling Yunfei said. Slave seal. Ning Mingyi and the others who were being controlled immediately closed their eyes and tried to sense the existence of the slave seal. How is it? Luo Qingzhu looked at them nervously. Zhao Tailai opened his eyes and looked at Luo Qingzhu, saying, It really has disappeared. Ning Mingyi and the others also nodded at Luo Qingzhu. Luo Qingzhu's body also shook violently as her vision turned dark. Ling Yunfei used his other hand to support Luo Qingzhu. Wait! Suddenly, the Golden Wolf King's voice rang out. What is it? Everyone looked at it one after another. Strange. Why didn't this king's slave seal disappear? The Golden Wolf King asked suspiciously. Yes. My slave seal didn't disappear either. The Silver Wolf King followed. And me. The Crocodile Emperor and the other beasts also followed. What? Everyone looked at each other. What was going on? Luo Qingzhu heard this and quivered. She looked at the beasts and asked, Are you sure? Yes. The Golden Wolf King nodded. So, Qin Feiyang is not dead. But why did Fatso and Ning Mingi's slave seals disappear? Ling Yunfei said in surprise. I don't know. Everyone shook their heads. Wait. Li Yun suddenly opened her mouth and looked at Ling Yunfei. Could it be related to everyone's death? Death? Ling Yunfei was slightly stunned. Then, he became spirited and said excitedly, Yes, it must be so. At that time, small beast will kill all of you. Fatso and Ning Mingi's slave seals will naturally disappear. Later, Boss Qin saved them, but the slave seals did not regenerate. So, why did Fatso's slave seals disappear, but the Golden Wolf King's slave seals are still there? I think Li Jian's slave seal should still be there. I'll go ask him. After Ling Yunfei finished speaking, he immediately disappeared. Why hasn't he come out yet? What is he doing? Inside the castle. The white-eyed wolf was like an ant on a hot pan. He was extremely anxious. Lu Hong said, Brother Wolf, Feiyang is dead. You are our backbone. You can't panic now. Backbone? I don't even know how he died. What qualifications do I have to be the backbone? It's all my fault. If I had enough strength, I could have stayed by his side. Maybe he wouldn't have died. The white-eyed wolf closed his eyes in pain. Swish. At this time, Ling Yunfei finally appeared. His face was full of ecstasy. Why did you only come out now? Brother Wolf is so anxious. Lu Hong asked. Ling Yunfei was about to speak when the white-eyed wolf opened his eyes. Seeing that Ling Yunfei was alone, he immediately said angrily, Where are Ning Mingi and the others? They didn't come out. Ling Yunfei said. They didn't come out. The white-eyed wolf was instantly furious and roared, Are they willing to come out? No, don't misunderstand. They didn't come out because Boss Qin is not dead. Ling Yunfei quickly said. Not dead. The white-eyed wolf was stunned and roared, The slavery seal has disappeared. How can little Qinzi not be dead? It's true. Although the slavery seals of Fatso and the others have disappeared, the slavery seals of the Golden Wolf King and the others are still there. And I specially went to find Li Jian. His slavery seal is also there. What does this mean? It means that Boss Qin is still alive. Ling Yunfei said. Then how did our enslavement seal disappear? Fatso asked. Ling Yunfei said, We analyzed it inside. It should have something to do with your death. Something to do with our death. Everyone was stunned. The next moment, everyone came to their senses. Willow Tree asked, So, young master is really not dead? Yes. As long as the slavery seal is still there, he is definitely not dead. Ling Yunfei nodded. Willow Tree gave a wry smile and looked at Fatso and the others, saying, We were too careless to ignore this point. Yes. Although the gate of rebirth can bring us back to life, it can't bring other things back to life. That's something that Boss said himself. There are so many of us, but none of us remembered it. We even made such a big mistake. Fatso shook his head. Thinking of his previous behavior, he couldn't help laughing. This is called caring makes you confused. Of course, it's also because we don't care about being controlled by the slavery seal, so we didn't pay special attention to it. Ling Yunfei said with a smile. Willow Tree said, I don't know about the others, but I don't care at all now. It doesn't matter even if I'm controlled by young master. You've made the right choice. Ling Yunfei looked at Willow Tree and smiled. Then, he looked at the hall and the image and said, although I don't know what happened in the hall, at least I can confirm that Qin Feiyang is still fine. Let's wait here. White-Eyed Wolf said, even if he's fine now, you have to call Ning Mingi and the others out, just in case. Okay. Ling Yunfei nodded and turned to look at White-Eyed Wolf, only to see that White-Eyed Wolf had secretly wiped the tears of blood from the corners of his eyes. White-Eyed Wolf raised his eyebrows and said angrily, what are you looking at with your little eyes? Ling Yunfei smiled and said, Brother Wolf, I didn't expect you to cry, and shut up. White-Eyed Wolf shouted and glared fiercely at Ling Yunfei. Then, he glanced at all the people and dire beasts present and said, no one is allowed to tell anyone about what happened today, including little Qin Zi. Otherwise, don't blame me for turning against you. Although he had a ferocious look, everyone couldn't help but laugh. White-Eyed Wolf's eyes were very fierce at first, but gradually, he couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Time flew by, and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. What's going on? Why hasn't young master come out yet? During this half a month, Willow Tree and Yu Huang had been observing the situation in the hall. As for White-Eyed Wolf, Fatso and the others, under Ling Yunfei's persuasion, they had already gone into closed-door cultivation that day. After all, the rules of time in the castle were different. Wasting 1 day was equivalent to wasting 10 days. Ning Mingi and the others had also come out and were ready to fight at any time. Maybe young master encountered an accident inside. Or maybe he's trapped inside. Ning Mingi pondered. I'll go ask the Golden Wolf King and the others again to see if the slavery seal is still there. Ling Yunfei said and disappeared without a trace. During this half a month, he went to ask the Golden Wolf King and the others almost every day. Because only when he was sure that the slavery seal was still there, he could feel at ease. At the same time, in the hall, everything was the same as before. Except for the crystal, there was nothing else. It was dead silent. But in another place, a magical scene was happening. This was an ethereal space, boundless and filled with pure white clouds and mist. Somewhere in the clouds, 2 young men in their 20s were floating in the void. Whether it was appearance, height, or physique, the two looked exactly the same. But there was a difference. The man on the left had black hair like a waterfall. The man on the right had blood-red hair. That's right. The two were Qin Feiyang and the inner demons. At this moment, they seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep, lying quietly in the void with their eyes closed and motionless. Their expressions were extremely peaceful. Even the inner demons didn't have any hostility in their expressions. No one knew how much time had passed. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's eyelids moved, then he slowly opened his eyes and looked up in confusion. Where was this? Immediately after, that dusty memory surfaced in his mind. He stood up abruptly and scanned his surroundings in shock. Was this heaven? Wait a minute. Although he wasn't a bad person who did all kinds of evil, he wasn't a good person either. How could he enter heaven? He didn't see any angels either. When he saw the inner demons, he hurried forward and shouted, "Inner demons, wake up." Soon, the inner demons slowly opened their eyes, looked around suspiciously, and asked, "Where is this? Are we dead? I don't know where this is either. As for whether we are dead or not, I can't be sure." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Hearing this, the inner demons raised their hands and slapped Qin Feiyang's face. Chapter 1662. However, just as Qin Feiyang grabbed the inner demon's wrist, a scene that made them turn pale with fright appeared. The inner demon's wrist collapsed on the spot. But that was not the point. The inner demons were a manifestation of consciousness. They had no flesh and blood. It was normal for them to collapse. But Qin Feiyang's hand, under the force, collapsed just like the inner demon's wrist. And there was no blood. What did that mean? It meant that he was not a flesh and blood body now. The inner demons stared at Qin Feiyang's collapsed hand, dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang came back to his senses and shook his arm forcefully. At that moment, his entire arm disintegrated and turned into mist. Looking at this scene, Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. It seems that we are really dead. Because this was the best proof. After a person died, their flesh and blood disappeared. When the inner demons heard this, their faces turned pale and they roared, "What the hell is that damn crystal? Why did it poison us?" Qin Feiyang also frowned. "And you? I don't understand. Have you never doubted that mysterious person's words?" The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyang and said angrily. "I did. But do we have a choice?" "No. The entrance to the Black Tortoise realm disappeared. We can only choose to believe him. This is equivalent to a gamble." Qin Feiyang sighed. The inner demons fell silent. "To be honest, although I am a little unwilling to die like this, I feel relieved. Now I am most worried about Fatso and the others. If they can't leave the Black Tortoise realm, where should they go?" Qin Feiyang said. "You just won't change despite repeated admonitions. You can't even take care of yourself and still think about others all day long." The inner demons rolled their eyes at him, glanced around, and said in a deep voice, "First, let's figure out whether this is hell or heaven. Does it matter whether it is hell or heaven now?" Qin Feiyang was puzzled. "Of course it matters. In the human world, we can be heroes. Even in heaven and hell, we can still carve out a path for ourselves." The inner demons said domineeringly. "We are already dead. Why are you still thinking about this?" Qin Feiyang shook his head. "You live as a hero, die as a ghost hero, don't you understand?" The inner demons glanced at him, with murderous intent flashing in his eyes, waved his hand and said, "Let's go." "Where to go?" Qin Feiyang said hurriedly. Mental demon said, "How would I know? Let's go look around." The two randomly chose a random direction and walked step by step. "Ha! Without cultivation, we can still walk in the void?" The inner demons was surprised. "We are ghosts now. What's so strange about that?" Qin Feiyang laughed. "How can you still laugh?" The inner demons frowned. "When a person dies, the light goes out. What's there to be unhappy about?" Qin Feiyang shook his head. "I just can't accept it." The inner demons snorted. Suddenly, between the clouds in front, there was a faint light. "What's that?" The two looked at each other and quickly flew over. Gradually, the light became more and more dazzling. And as they got closer, they also felt a divine power. Could it be that heaven and hell have divine weapons? The two were surprised. A moment later, when the two of them flew out of the clouds, it was as if the clouds had parted to reveal the sun. A scene that shocked the two of them appeared before their eyes. They saw divine weapons of different sizes floating in the void in front of them. There were swords, blades, halberds, axes. There were also spears, bows, daggers, sticks and so on. In short, there were all kinds of weapons in the world here. There were so many of them that they couldn't see the end. Every weapon was emitting a dazzling divine light. Qin Feiyang and the inner demons flew all the way, looking at the divine weapons one by one. Their faces were full of disbelief. In the end, they estimated that there were at least tens of thousands of divine weapons in front of them. Tens of thousands of divine weapons. What kind of concept was that? Even Qin Feiyang's breathing became rapid and his body trembled. This was simply a terrifying divine treasure. What the hell is going on? The inner demons grabbed the back of his head and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. God knows. Qin Feiyang shrugged. The inner demons looked at the divine weapons for a moment and said, "Let's split up and look around to see if there is anything else." Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. The two immediately separated and shuttled through the clouds. Soon, Qin Feiyang saw another shocking scene. In the void, there were tens of thousands of jade slips floating. Each jade slip was emitting a hazy divine light. They were all divine arts. At the same time, the inner demons also found countless alchemy furnaces in the void. These alchemy furnaces were also divine-level alchemy furnaces. The two continued to search. Soon, Qin Feiyang found clusters of divine-level alchemy fire in all kinds of colors. There were tens of thousands of them. The inner demons also found a lot of medicinal herbs. And they were all the most precious medicinal herbs, such as the fruit of creation, the spiritual infant fruit and so on. There were even many medicinal herbs that he had never seen before. Next, they also found a golden mountain that was tens of thousands of feet high, as well as countless divine pills and so on. What the hell is this place? There are so many treasures and divine objects. In the end, the two met at the place where they found the divine weapons. Both their faces and eyes were full of surprise. After a long time, the inner demons just recovered and looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Are you sure this is heaven and hell?" "Hell, I don't think so." As for heaven, Qin Feiyang glanced at the divine weapons and said with a smile, "You don't say, this place really does look like heaven." The inner demons said, "In other words, these divine objects and treasures are all ours. We're already like this, why do we still need these treasures and divine objects?" Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly. If it was before, he would definitely take out his Qinquan bag and put it all away. But now, at most, he would be shocked, but he didn't care too much. "You're bullshitting. I've said it before. We live as heroes, and we die as heroes. The divine items and treasures here are our capital. Hurry up and put them away," the inner demons urged. After saying that, they flew to a divine weapon and reached out to grab it. Qin Feiyang frowned, stepped forward to stop the inner demons, and said, "Do you think these things are still useful to us now?" "Let go." The inner demons raised his eyebrows. "We've already come to this point, why can't you see past it? Besides, don't you feel that so many divine objects and treasures are a little unreal?" Qin Feiyang said. "They're right in front of us, isn't it real enough?" The inner demons said angrily. "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded and said, "I always feel that what we see is not real." "Nonsense. So many divine weapons, if it was anyone else, they would think that they were dreaming. But, these are all real," the inner demon said. Qin Feiyang turned his head to look at the divine weapons in the void and suddenly waved his hand. At that moment, a scene that the inner demons couldn't accept appeared. The divine weapons in the void actually collapsed one after another, and finally all disappeared into nothingness. Sure enough, there's a problem. Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. "Who's playing tricks in the dark, get out." After the inner demons came back to his senses, he roared. "Ha ha!" A childish laughter suddenly sounded behind the two of them. The two of them tensed up and hurriedly turned around to look, only to see a little boy standing behind them. This little boy was only 3 or 4 years old, wearing a small red belly band and a golden bell hanging around his neck. His little face was chubby and pink. A pair of big dark eyes, blinking, was quite cute. However, there was a sense of depth between his eyebrows, looking like an antique that had lived for countless years. Who are you? Qin Feiyang looked at the child warily. The little boy looked at the two of them for a moment and grinned. I'm the owner of this place. The owner of this place? Qin Feiyang looked at each other, glanced around the void, looked at the little boy suspiciously, and asked, then what is this place? You don't have to worry about that. I came out to tell you, congratulations on passing the test. The little boy said. Test? Qin Feiyang and Qin Feiyang were stunned. The little boy glanced at the inner demons, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, to be exact, you passed the test. Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked, what test? The test of greed. All creatures in the world have a fatal flaw, which is greed. Greed is endless, and it's also human nature. For example, you humans. In the beginning, you only pursued a little bit of wealth, enough to support your family. However, after you obtained this wealth, you wanted even more wealth. So, the treasures that appeared in front of you before were all tests. The little boy said. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. Wait. Just now you said, you humans. Are you not human? The inner demons were suspicious. The little boy frowned and said, I just made an analogy. Why are you so worried about this? The inner demons pursed his lips. Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy and asked, then what would happen if we didn't pass the test just now? What would happen? The little boy chuckled and said, both of you would disappear. Do you know what disappear is? It's death. We're already dead. Why are you afraid of dying again? The inner demons were disdainful. The little boy said, how do you know that you're already dead? The inner demons was stunned and frowned. What do you mean? Your physical bodies have indeed disappeared, but your consciousness is still fine, isn't it? As long as your consciousness is still there, you're not dead. The little boy said. Not dead. Qin Feiyang and Qin Feiyang looked at each other. Going back to what I said before, if you didn't pass the test, then your consciousness would have been ruthlessly erased. After the little boy said that, he looked at the inner demon and said, you should really be glad that your true body stopped you and didn't let you touch those divine artifacts. Otherwise, both of your consciousnesses would have been wiped out by now. The inner demons couldn't help but feel a lingering fear after hearing this. Qin Feiyang looked at the inner demons and said with a smile, like I said, you can't just look at the surface of things. You just happened by accident. What are you so proud of? The inner demons snorted. Chapter 1663. The little boy said, even if the physical body disappears, it can still be reconstructed. Reconstruct? Qin Feiyang and the inner demons were shocked. See for yourself. The little boy waved his hand, and an image immediately appeared in the void in front of him. The scene displayed in the image was the main hall. The crystal was still suspended in the void, emitting a dazzling light. Suddenly, strands of divine light fell from the crystal. A blurry outline gradually appeared. It was the outline of a person. Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy in surprise and said, that can't be me, right? The little boy did not answer. Qin Feiyang looked at the image again. As time passed, the outline became clearer. About 100 breaths later. Finally, the outline solidified. A young man in white with flesh and blood appeared in the line of sight of Qin Feiyang and the inner demons. Both of them were dumbfounded. Because that young man in white was their physical body. How could this be? The two of them looked at the little boy in surprise. The little boy said, it's the energy of the heart of origin that helped you reconstruct your physical body. Heart of origin. Qin Feiyang and the inner demons looked at each other. What was this? The little boy said, the crystal you see is the heart of origin of the Black Tortoise realm. The heart of origin of the Black Tortoise realm? Qin Feiyang and the inner demons were even more puzzled. Because they could not understand at all. What was the heart of origin that the little boy was talking about? The mystery of the heart of origin is not something that people of your level can understand. All you need to know now is that controlling the heart of origin is equivalent to controlling the Black Tortoise realm. The little boy said. Qin Feiyang's gaze trembled. Who exactly are you? Were you the one who asked the heart of origin to help us reconstruct our physical bodies? The inner demons looked at the little boy and said. Me? I've always been in front of you. Did you see me ask it to help you reconstruct your physical bodies? The little boy said. The inner demons frowned. The little boy did not say anything. You will know who I am in the future. As for now, you all have already passed the trial. I believe that the heart of origin should no longer reject you all. After the little boy finished speaking, he waved his little hand, and Qin Feiyang and the inner demons immediately appeared in the hall. That's it? The inner demons were astonished. What else do you want? Qin Feiyang asked. The inner demon said, he should have made it clear. The heart of origins will no longer reject us. What does that mean? Isn't that simple? Since the heart of origin will no longer reject us, we can obtain it. Qin Feiyang said. Yeah. The inner demons shuddered and immediately raised their heads to look at the heart of origins. Their eyes flickered as they urged, quickly go and try it. Qin Feiyang nodded and his consciousness entered his body to stretch his muscles and bones. His physical body was still the same as before. The purple gold dragon blood was still there. Even his Qianquan bag was reconstructed. Wait a minute. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. What? The inner demons thought that something bad had happened and asked hurriedly. This is impossible. How could this be? Qin Feiyang muttered to himself, turning a deaf ear to the inner demon's words. What's going on? The inner demons shouted. Qin Feiyang raised his head to look at the inner demons and said in disbelief, this physical body, speaking of which. He swallowed his saliva, his face full of shock and ecstasy. Hurry up and tell me, what's wrong with this physical body? The inner demons said anxiously. This physical body, Qin Feiyang murmured and suddenly roared, there's actually the power of a pseudo-god in the energy reserve of this physical body. What? The power of a pseudo-god? The inner demons trembled. Wasn't having the power of a pseudo-god equal to having cultivation? The inner demons urged, hurry up, but before the inner demons finished speaking, a terrifying divine power immediately rushed out from Qin Feiyang's body. It's really divine power. But what's going on? Our cultivation has clearly been completely crippled. The inner demons said in disbelief. Qin Feiyang said, yes, this is what I can't figure out. Suddenly, the two of them seemed to have thought of something. They looked at each other at the same time, and then raised their heads at the same time to look at the heart of origin floating above. Their physical bodies were reconstructed by this heart of origin. In that case, their cultivation must also be related to this heart of origin. Is it you? Qin Feiyang asked. But the heart of origin did not move, nor did it respond. It must be it. The inner demon said. Because other than this, there was no other explanation. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, bowed to the heart of origin, and said, thank you. At this time, the inner demons also lowered their arrogant heads and sincerely thanked him. Cultivation was too important to them. Although Qin Feiyang showed an indifferent attitude when he was saving everyone, in fact, his heart had been aching faintly. After all, he had experienced too much along the way. Once his cultivation was lost, all his efforts over the years would be wasted and he would have to start all over again. Although with his talent, it would not take many years for him to cultivate to the pseudo-god realm again, it would still take time. Therefore, the recovery of their cultivation was simply a great fortune for Qin Feiyang and the inner demons. It was more precious than any treasure or divine item. The two of them finally calmed down. The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Let me feel the feeling of regaining my cultivation." Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and his consciousness left his body. The inner demon's consciousness followed into his body. He immediately looked inside his sea of qi. In his sea of qi, the three war souls were still there. But the difference was that there used to be three kinds of battle qi in his sea of qi, but now there were three kinds of pseudo-god powers. The battle qi was in a state of mist. The pseudo-god powers were in a liquefied state, like flowing water. The three pseudo-god powers divided the sea of qi into three parts, each occupying one side. But in contrast, the purple gold dragon aura occupied the largest part, occupying half of the entire sea of qi. The remaining half was divided equally between the red sword aura and the flaming battle qi. Feeling, the purple gold dragon aura was the big brother. The red sword aura and the flaming battle qi were the little brothers. Feeling the terrifying aura of the three pseudo-god powers and the majestic power in his body, the inner demons couldn't help but clench his hands together. Boom! A terrifying divine power broke out of his body again. Then, the inner demons punched the ground. Boom! The ground did not break. On the contrary, his arm was numb from the shock. But even so, the inner demons couldn't help but roar, his face full of excitement. So this is the feeling of regaining something you lost. One word, cool. Two words, it feels fucking good. He laughed loudly. Ah. That's only two words. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Hey. The inner demons grinned. But then, he raised his eyebrows, looked at Qin Feiyang, and said, "Let me tell you, you are not allowed to use the fourth move of the Divine Dragon technique in the future, otherwise I will not let you off. After all, this body is not only yours, but also mine." Chapter 1664. Unless it's a last resort, who would be willing to use such a divine art? Qin Feiyang was speechless. Not even if it's a last resort. The inner demons said angrily. Okay, I'll listen to you. Qin Feiyang was helpless. The inner demon's expression finally eased. Next. The inner demons left the body, and Qin Feiyang entered the body. Then, the two of them raised their heads at the same time and looked at the heart of origin. The inner demons said, "My lord, why don't you try again? Why don't you go?" Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. The inner demon said, "Didn't that kid hear that the one who passed the test was actually you? I'm just basking in your glory." Qin Feiyang was speechless. We are the same person to begin with. Why do we have to be so clear about it? At this time, we have to be clear about it. If this heart of origin doesn't acknowledge me, then wouldn't we be in trouble again? The inner demon said. That seems to be the case. Qin Feiyang nodded. Hurry. When you get the heart of origin, the entire black tortoise realm will be ours. The fire dragon and the giant python want to trap us to death. Dream on. The inner demons urged. Qin Feiyang exhaled, jumped, and landed in front of the heart of origin. Then, he slowly reached out his hand and poked the heart of origin with his fingertip. After waiting for a while, he didn't see any reaction from the heart of origin, so he mustered up his courage and grabbed the heart of origin. He was quite nervous. However, after a while, there was still no movement from the heart of origin. At this time, he heaved a sigh of relief, grabbed the heart of origin, and landed next to the inner demons. The inner demons hurriedly said, "Quickly try and see if you can leave the black tortoise realm." Ah! Qin Feiyang was stunned. What's wrong? The inner demons were confused. Qin Feiyang said, "Although I don't know what the heart of origin is, I can imagine that if you want to control the heart of origin, you must first recognize a master. How? Could it be that it recognizes its master by dripping blood like a divine weapon? The inner demon said. How would I know? Qin Feiyang was helpless. However, he could still give it a try. A strand of false divinity energy surged out and slit his wrist. Purple gold dragon blood immediately appeared and dripped onto the heart of origin. Whine. Immediately. The heart of origin emitted a blazing light. All of the purple gold dragon blood that dripped onto it was absorbed by it. However, Qin Feiyang, did not feel the slightest hint of success. What happened? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Can't I? The inner demons asked. Qin Feiyang nodded. The inner demons said angrily, since it can't recognize a master by dripping blood, why does it still absorb the purple gold dragon blood? They don't even know how to recognize a master. What two pigs? But suddenly, the familiar voice of the little boy sounded in the hall. The two of them hurriedly looked over and saw the little boy standing in the left corner of the hall, looking at them with a pair of mocking eyes. We don't even know what the heart of origin is. How would we know? How can we recognize a master? The inner demons said angrily. Don't make excuses for your stupidity. The little boy despised them. My bad temper, the inner demons flew into a rage out of humiliation. They rolled up their sleeves and were ready to fight. Calm down. Qin Feiyang hurriedly stopped them and transmitted his voice, can't you see? This child is not simple. You're simply courting death by shouting at him. The inner demons' eyes trembled, and they immediately suppressed their anger. Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy and smiled apologetically. My inner demons have a bad temper. Please forgive me. Inner demons are all like this. It's understandable. The little boy glanced at the inner demons and looked at Qin Feiyang as if he was an old man. Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked in surprise, you know the inner demons very well. I don't know them well. Back to the topic, this heart of origin is not an ordinary object like a divine weapon, so the way to recognize a master is different. The little boy said. An ordinary object like a divine weapon. Qin Feiyang and the little boy were stunned. A divine weapon was just an ordinary object in the eyes of this child. Oh my God! Just what kind of background did this little brat have? Qin Feiyang calmed himself down and asked humbly, then how does it recognize a master? There is only one way for the heart of origin to recognize a master, and that is to gain its approval. If it recognizes you, it will take the initiative to merge with your soul. The little boy said. Qin Feiyang said, what if it doesn't recognize me? A sly look flashed in the little boy's eyes, and he said, it will directly erase your soul. What? Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Wouldn't erasing one's soul mean death? This was simply a huge gamble. That's right. This is a huge gamble. If you win, you will get the Black Tortoise realm and step onto the peak of life. If you lose, you will lose your life and become dust. The little boy said. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang lowered his head, his eyes full of struggle. The inner demons hesitated for a while, looked at the little boy, and frowned. He has already passed the test. There shouldn't be too much of a problem, right? Wrong. The test is my test for you. It has nothing to do with recognizing a master. The little boy said. The inner demon said, but you just said that the heart of origin won't reject us anymore. That's right. I'm not wrong, because it doesn't reject you now. Otherwise, how could it be in your hands? But rejection is one thing, and recognizing a master is another. Don't mix them up. The little boy said. Qin Feiyang and the inner demons looked at each other. They didn't expect that a mere recognition of a master would have such a big risk. The little boy said, answer me, are you going to recognize a master or give up? The inner demons glanced at the little boy, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You decide." Qin Feiyang looked at the inner demons, gritted his teeth, looked at the little boy, and said, "I'm willing to take this gamble." "You're really brave." There was a trace of admiration in the little boy's eyes. With a light wave of his little hand, the heart of origin immediately turned into a stream of light, entering the top of his head and into his sea of consciousness. The inner demons immediately became nervous. Qin Feiyang was the same. This was because he could clearly feel that the heart of origin was slowly moving around his soul. It was as if it was examining its soul. Suddenly, there was a sharp pain in his mind. He felt as if his soul was being torn apart by the heart of origin. Even Qin Feiyang couldn't bear this kind of pain. He couldn't help but scream, and his face instantly distorted. "You didn't get recognition." The inner demons was stunned. They quickly looked at the little boy and said, "Let's give up. Let the heart of origin out. Since you've made a choice, you have to face it bravely. Do you want to be a coward?" The little boy said indifferently. "Don't talk to me about principles. I don't understand. Let the heart of origin out immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." The inner demons said angrily. "There's no turning back." The little boy said expressionlessly. But in the depths of his eyes, a hint of disdain for the inner demons flashed. "Bastard, I'll kill you." The hostility that the inner demons had been suppressing all this time suddenly erupted. He took a step forward, carrying a monstrous murderous aura, and slapped at the little boy. "You're really going to attack me?" The little boy was stunned. His eyes suddenly turned cold as he stared at the inner demons and said, "This is the worst decision you've ever made in your life." As soon as he finished speaking, the little boy took a step forward and appeared behind the inner demons in an instant. What a fast speed! The inner demons turned pale with fright. With his current strength, he actually couldn't capture the trajectory of the little boy behind him. It felt as if he had teleported. Without waiting for him to turn around, the little boy raised his small arm and pointed his index finger in the air. Boom! A terrifying aura burst out from the ground. The inner demons was instantly enveloped by the aura of death. He couldn't help but tremble. He couldn't help but feel despair. He felt that the child behind him was like a god of death. It made his hair stand on end. Chapter 1665. Little brother, stop it. At this moment, Qin Feiyang opened his eyes and hurriedly looked at the little boy. The little boy was slightly stunned. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked in confusion, "I'm clearing the inner demons for you now. Shouldn't you be grateful to me? Why are you stopping me instead?" In the eyes of the world, the inner demons are ominous things, the embodiment of evil. To be honest, I used to want to get rid of him. But after getting along with him, I realized that he is actually no different from us. And now, he has become a part of my life. Qin Feiyang glanced at the inner demons and smiled at the little boy. This body, hearing these words, the inner demons stared at Qin Feiyang in a daze. There was an indescribable feeling in his heart. "A part of my life," the little boy muttered to himself and slowly lowered his arm. Looking at the inner demons, he said lightly, "You are very lucky to have met such a body. Cherish it." This time, the inner demons did not refute. "Wait a minute." Suddenly, he was stunned and looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Wasn't Qin Feiyang in great pain before? Why did he seem to be fine now? Could it be that he had succeeded in recognizing him as the master? That's right. Yes, I have succeeded in recognizing him as the master. Qin Feiyang looked at the inner demons and said with a smile. The inner demons were overjoyed and asked, "Then why did you scream just now?" "I said you were stupid, but you didn't admit it. Although the heart of origin is merged with the soul, it is not merged with the entire soul. The little boy said disdainfully. Yes. I screamed just now because the heart of origin split my soul. As for the strand of soul that was split off, it fused with the heart of origin. This is how the heart of origin recognizes its master. Qin Feiyang said. I see. The inner demons were enlightened. To be honest, he was really frightened previously. He thought that the heart of origins was going to erase Qin Feiyang's soul. Otherwise, he wouldn't have attacked the little boy. Of course. If he hadn't attacked the little boy, he wouldn't have known that the little boy was hiding such a terrifying technique. Originally, he and Qin Feiyang both thought that this little boy didn't have much strength and only had a terrifying background. But the result was the exact opposite. They could not figure it out either. How could a child who was only 3 or 4 years old possess such terrifying strength? Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy and asked, May I ask, where do you live and who are your parents? Don't ask what you shouldn't. A cold light flashed in the little boy's eyes. He said expressionlessly, I have successfully recognized you as my master. I should also take my leave. See you again. After saying that, the little boy instantly disappeared without a trace. Leaving just like that? The inner demons were stunned. Don't tell me you want to treat him to dinner. Qin Feiyang was speechless. The inner demons smiled embarrassedly and asked suspiciously, Do you think this little brat is the child of the creator of miracles? Otherwise, how could he have such terrifying methods? Qin Feiyang thought for a while and nodded. It's possible. Because this black tortoise realm was created by the creator. The little boy could enter and leave the black tortoise realm at will, so it must be related to the creator. But he didn't understand. If the little boy was really related to the creator, then he must also know small beast, giant python, and fire dragon. But why did small beast, giant python, and fire dragon want to harm him, but the little boy wanted to help him? Could it be, the little boy and small beast were not on the same side? The more he thought about it, the more confused Qin Feiyang's mind became. He rubbed his forehead and temporarily put this matter aside. The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Is the heart of origin in your sea of consciousness now? Qin Feiyang nodded. The inner demons urged, Then quickly take a look and see if you can touch the devil imprint. His expression was rather nervous. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. With a thought, the heart of origin immediately rushed out from between his eyebrows, emitting a hazy divine light. However, he didn't know how to control it. He tentatively grabbed the heart of origin and placed it on the devil imprint on his chest. Buzz! Suddenly, a ray of divine light emerged and entered the devil imprint. The next moment, under the excited gazes of Qin Feiyang and the inner demons, the devil imprint actually dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye. Really? The inner demons was stunned and overjoyed. You really didn't deceive me. Qin Feiyang was also overjoyed. The mysterious person in the soul-sealing valley was still somewhat honest. Since the devil imprint can be removed, then it can definitely leave the black tortoise realm. The inner demons said excitedly. Indeed. Just now, when the master recognition was successful, my perception was infinitely magnified. The entire black tortoise realm could clearly see it. Including Zhuge Mingyang outside, as well as those mortals, beasts, wild beasts, and so on. Even my perception penetrated the black tortoise realm and saw the miraculous scene outside. Qin Feiyang said. So powerful. The inner demons were surprised. Qin Feiyang nodded. The inner demons hurriedly said, Let me take a look. Qin Feiyang put away the heart of origin and his consciousness left his body. The inner demons immediately got into his body and then closed his eyes. Sure enough, as Qin Feiyang said, the moment he closed his eyes, his perception began to expand infinitely at an astonishing speed. Zhuge Mingyang and the desert outside the door, as well as the storm in the desert, immediately appeared in front of his eyes. His perception was still expanding. Soon, his perception passed through the entire desert and entered the mountains and rivers outside. He was like a ghost, wandering between heaven and earth. The four forbidden areas, mountains and rivers, humans and beasts, all entered his sight one by one. Moreover, whatever the people of the world were doing and saying, he could clearly see and hear. This feeling was very strange. He felt that at this moment, he was the ruler of this world and could dictate the fate of any living being. There was even a kind of confidence that with just a thought, he could erase a pseudo-god beast. Finally, his perception passed through the black tortoise realm and entered the miraculous scene outside. In front of him was an endless sea of fire. Waves of fire rolled, and a terrifying high temperature enveloped all directions. This land was like a big furnace. The inner demons looked at this scene in surprise. Wasn't this the place where they entered the black tortoise realm? Can I come out with just a thought? The inner demons muttered. Immediately after, his thought moved. Swish. The next moment, he and Qin Feiyang both appeared above the sea of fire. Can I really come out? The inner demons were stunned. Qin Feiyang also had a look of surprise. Boom. Crack. But the next moment, in the sky, the winds suddenly surged, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. A terrifying rule force descended. Rule force? Damn it, it's the giant python causing trouble again. The inner demons was furious. No. This rule force is a bit different from the rule force controlled by the giant python. This rule force is stronger. Qin Feiyang said. You mean, it's that small beast? The inner demons were bewildered. It shouldn't be. With the strength of the small beast, to deal with us, it doesn't need to use rule force at all. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Then what's going on? The inner demons looked at the descending rule force, and their eyes were filled with confusion. I know. Qin Feiyang suddenly said. What? The inner demons quickly asked. It should be because of our cultivation base. Now that we've broken through to the false god realm, once we leave the black tortoise world, the rule force will send us to the second layer. Qin Feiyang said. Yes. I actually missed this point. But, when the willow tree left the black tortoise world, why wasn't it sent to the second layer? The inner demons was stunned and puzzled. It must be because of the devil mark. Quickly go to the black tortoise world. Qin Feiyang urged. Yan Wei, Wang Zicheng, and the others had not been found yet, so they definitely couldn't go to the second layer. The inner demons waved their hands, and the two immediately appeared in the main hall. In the main hall, everything was calm as usual. The inner demons scanned the main hall and asked, do you think this main hall is also a terrifying divine tool? This, Qin Feiyang pondered and didn't say anything. To be honest, it was really hard to judge. According to the sturdiness of the main hall, it should be a divine tool. However, there was another possibility. This main hall might have been tempered by divine power, or it might be because of the heart of origin that it was so sturdy. In other words, this main hall was very likely to be a very ordinary building. Qin Feiyang said, look at what Zhuge Mingyang is doing. The inner demons closed their eyes. The scene outside immediately appeared in front of them. A moment later, the inner demons opened their eyes and sneered, not only did he activate his battle soul, but he also activated his innate ability. He should be planning to catch us off guard when we go out. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent, and said, this person must be eliminated. Leave this matter to me. You go to the inner world and stay there first, let me have some fun outside. The inner demons laughed. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly and instantly disappeared into the space between his eyebrows. Zhuge Mingyang, today is the day you die. The inner demon's eyes flashed with a cold light. He withdrew his aura and stepped across the main hall, appearing a few miles behind Zhuge Mingyang. Now, he could go anywhere in the Black Tortoise realm with just a thought. Boom! The moment he left the main hall and the stone tablet in front of the main hall collapsed, dust billowed, and turned into ruins. The sudden change shocked Zhuge Mingyang, who was standing in front of the main hall, and he quickly retreated with his battle soul. At the same time, in the ancient castle, Willow Tree and the others were also surprised. Fatso and the others heard the movement and hurriedly got up and looked at the screen in surprise. "What's going on?" Lu Hong asked. "We don't know either." The main hall and the stone tablet suddenly collapsed. Willow Tree said. "Then where's little Qin Zi?" White-Eyed Wolf said. "I don't see young master." Willow Tree shook his head. Everyone stared at the ruins. The main hall collapsed, and Qin Feiyang must be under the ruins. Hey, Zhuge, what are you looking at?" "I'm here." Suddenly, a laugh sounded behind them. Qin Feiyang. Zhuge Mingyang trembled. He turned around abruptly and looked in the direction of the voice. He saw Qin Feiyang standing on a sand dune with his arms crossed in front of his chest. He was looking at him with a mocking expression. Zhuge Mingyang's face was full of disbelief. When did he come out of the main hall? Chapter 1666. Willow Tree and the others in the castle looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. But more than that, they were happy. These days, because they were worried about Qin Feiyang's safety, they had been in a state of anxiety. If it weren't for their strong minds, they would have collapsed. Therefore, at this moment, seeing Qin Feiyang come out alive, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. However, what followed was also a lot of doubts. How did Qin Feiyang come out? One had to know. Not only Zhuge Mingyang, but also they had been staring at the door of the hall. From the beginning to the end, the door had not been opened. White-Eyed Wolf looked at Qin Feiyang in the picture, raised his eyebrows and said, "No, he is not little Qin Zi, but the inner demons." Listening to the laughter, Fat Lord already knew that it was the inner demons. However, since the inner demons appeared, the boss must be fine. Fatso said with a smile. Everyone nodded. Outside, Zhuge Mingyang looked at the inner demons and frowned. "When did you come out?" "Just now." The inner demon said. "Just now." Zhuge Mingyang frowned more and more. Did this guy come out by opening the portal? But it seemed that the portal couldn't be opened in the desert. And Qin Feiyang was now a disabled person, so he couldn't open the portal. At this moment, the inner demons didn't have the slightest aura of cultivation from head to toe, just like an ordinary person. Of course, he was deliberately teasing Zhuge Mingyang. "Surprised, aren't you? You were waiting outside just to catch me off guard, but in the end, you didn't show off. Are you very angry now?" The inner demon sneered. "Yes. I'm very angry now. But answer me, can you withstand my wrath in your current state?" Zhuge Mingyang sneered and charged towards the inner demons with a terrifying demonic aura. "Save the young master!" Ning Mingi shouted. Willow Tree waved his hand. Ning Mingi, Chui Li, Li Yun, and Willow Tree himself immediately appeared above the inner demons. Following closely, the four of them unleashed their auras, and their quasi-divinity energy gushed out, rushing towards Zhuge Mingyang. "It's best that all of you come out, lest I have to deal with you one by one." Zhuge Mingyang let out a maniacal laugh. The grayish-white power of the false god emerged and roared in the sky. Rumble. Willow Tree and the other three's false god powers were instantly shattered. The four of them turned pale. They quickly looked at the inner demons and said, "Young master, let's go to the castle." The inner demons, however, turned a deaf ear to him. They laughed and waved their hands. Rumble. In the sky. A terrifying power of the rules came crashing down. This is, Willow Tree and the other three were shocked. How could the young master control the rule force? Zhuge Mingyang looked at the rule force with a look of horror. What was going on? What did he get in the main hall? Rumble. The rule force fell, and its aura firmly locked onto Zhuge Mingyang. No matter where Zhuge Mingyang escaped, the rule force would follow. That terrifying aura caused his body to crack continuously, and blood flowed out like a fountain. In the nick of time, Zhuge Mingyang entered the space divine item. With a loud bang, the rule force blasted on the space divine item, but it didn't shatter it. Young master, you, Willow Tree and the other three flew to the side of the inner demons, their faces full of shock. Step aside. But before the four of them finished speaking, the inner demons shouted coldly. They glanced at the place where Zhuge Mingyang disappeared, and their eyes were extremely hazy. Yes. The four of them hurriedly retreated behind the inner demons. The inner demons sneered, "Come out, what's the point of hiding?" Swish. Zhuge Mingyang appeared in the opposite void and said in a deep voice, "What did you get?" "You can control the rule force of a miracle." Wrong. I'm not controlling the rule force of a miracle, but the rule force of the Black Tortoise world. The inner demon said. The rule force of the Black Tortoise world, could it be that you've already controlled the Black Tortoise world? Zhuge Mingyang's face was full of disbelief. Yes. The inner demons nodded. How is this possible? Zhuge Mingyang roared. The inner demons waved his hand, and another rule force fell. He sneered, "Isn't this the best proof?" It can't be. Zhuge Mingyang looked at the rule force and shook his head frantically. But Willow Tree and the others were incomparably excited. The Black Tortoise world had fallen into the young master's hands. Did that mean that the young master could now help them remove the devil mark? Not to mention the devil mark, just the Black Tortoise world being controlled by the young master was already something worth celebrating. I don't believe it. Zhuge Mingyang suddenly roared, and the Bone Dragon Battle Soul roared in the sky. With its innate ability, it bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced toward Qin Feiyang. Young master, be careful. Willow Tree hurriedly shouted. The inner demons smiled disdainfully, and the rule force blasted toward the Bone Dragon. Boom! The Bone Dragon wailed and shattered on the spot. Puff! Zhuge Mingyang spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale. Come, kill me. But Zhuge Mingyang was even crazier. He ignored his injuries and directly pounced toward the inner demons. I don't believe that you're really immortal. The inner demon's bloody eyes were as cold as a blade. Roar! Accompanied by a loud dragon roar, a purple-gold divine dragon rushed out from behind him. This is, purple-gold dragon soul. Willow Tree and the other three were dumbfounded. Zhuge Mingyang was also stunned. Didn't Qin Feiyang lose his cultivation? How could he still activate his battle soul? Emperor Prison. The inner demons roared. A monstrous dragon aura and emperor aura erupted between heaven and earth. A divine prison immediately appeared. It's an innate ability, he didn't lose his cultivation. Zhuge Mingyang muttered and roared, "You bastard, you actually lied to me, despicable, shameless." Lied to you? There's really no need for that. The inner demons smiled contemptuously. The divine prison fell, and Zhuge Mingyang was immediately imprisoned in the void, unable to move. Immediately. The inner demons shouted to Willow Tree and the other three, "Go and kill him immediately." Yes. The four responded respectfully, and immediately rushed toward Zhuge Mingyang with monstrous killing intent. Kill me? With just you guys? Zhuge Mingyang smiled proudly, and a terrifying demonic aura burst out of his body. The Emperor Divine Prison had been torn apart. Qin Feiyang, there's still a long way to go. Let's wait and see. Zhuge Mingyang smiled coldly, and did not continue to fight. He immediately entered the divine space item and drove it away. The inner demons released their divine sense and rushed toward the divine space item. It's divine sense. We're not dreaming. The young master's cultivation has really recovered. Willow Tree and the other three were overjoyed. Very quickly, the inner demon's divine sense locked onto the divine space item, and then took a step forward, and instantly appeared in front of the divine space item. This speed is even faster than teleportation. Ning Mingi was shocked. You don't understand. The young master controls the black tortoise world. He can go anywhere with just a thought. Willow Tree laughed. Ning Mingi couldn't help but smile bitterly when he heard this. Not only did he recover his cultivation, but he also obtained the black tortoise world. Such luck and opportunity was really enviable. In my world, where can you ask for it? The inner demons looked at the divine space item with ridicule in his eyes. Boom! Rays of rule power continued to fall, forming a cage that was dozens of feet wide, trapping the divine space item. Bang bang bang! Zhuge Mingyang drove the divine space item and crazily hit the cage. However, although his divine space item could withstand the bombardment of rule power, it couldn't break the rule power. However, although Zhuge Mingyang was trapped, the inner demon's face was a little ugly. Because according to the current situation, he didn't have the ability to break the divine space item. If he couldn't break the divine space item, then there was no way to kill Zhuge Mingyang. Willow Tree and the other three flew over and looked at the inner demons. Young master, why don't you try using the castle? Castle, the inner demon's eyes flickered and nodded. Okay, call out all the false gods for me immediately. Okay. Willow Tree responded and immediately entered the castle. Not long after, Yu Huang, Li Yun's woman, Zhao Tai Lai, and the Grand Deacon in Ling Yunfei's divine space item all appeared with the Willow Tree. Greetings, young master. More than 100 false gods bowed in unison. The inner demons shouted, Revival Castle, break his divine space item for me. Yes. Everyone responded respectfully. Swish. Before his voice died away, Zhuge Mingyang appeared in the cage. There was a hint of anxiety on his face as he asked, Brother Qin, are you really going to kill them all? What? Are you finally afraid? It seems like it's just as we expected. Your undying demon technique is only effective on me. In other words, no matter how many times I kill you, you will revive. But if someone else kills you, you will completely disappear. The inner demon sneered. Hearing this, Zhuge Mingyang's face darkened slightly. I didn't expect you to see through it so quickly. So? The inner demon said. So I must die in your hands, because only then can I become stronger. By the way, I'll tell you one more time. If I die again, I can step into the war god realm. Zhuge Mingyang sneered again and again. You won't have a chance. The inner demon's eyes turned cold, and a ray of rule force suddenly fell, penetrating the cage, and blasted towards Zhuge Mingyang. Zhuge Mingyang disappeared in an instant. Clang! Boom! The rule force immediately blasted the divine space item that was exposed outside. A wave of destructive energy gushed out like a volcanic eruption. The cage was smashed into pieces. The moment the cage was smashed, Zhuge Mingyang appeared like lightning and rushed towards the inner demons at an astonishing speed. Stop him, don't let him come near me. The inner demons shouted. Ning Mingi and the others immediately went forward. Willow Tree even used the castle as a brick and smashed it towards Zhuge Mingyang. Do you think you can stop me? Zhuge Mingyang laughed. Divine light burst out from under his feet, and his speed suddenly increased by several times. He easily passed by Willow Tree and the others, and rushed to the inner demons, and punched towards the inner demon's head. Even the inner demons didn't have time to react to this sudden increase in speed. He instinctively raised his arm and met Zhuge Mingyang's fist with his palm, and the false god's power roared out. Zhuge Mingyang smiled as if his plan had worked. He loosened his fist and took the initiative to meet his death. Oh no! The inner demons came back to his senses and quickly retracted his arm. Seeing this,